Never be a prisoner of your past. It was a lesson, not a life sentence. Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, this is Modern Escapism. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Oodles, and once you've had me, you'll never have me again. And today, I am joined by the one-trick pony, Candy Machine.
Hello.
Once he's had one bite of the pie, he throws it to the dogs. It's Stig.
Hello.
And he edits this show with the mantra, I'm doing one rough run through. If I miss anything, fuck 'em. It's Gadget.
Yeah, pretty much. I
had to read that slowly because it's one rough run through. It's very difficult for a Yorkshireman to say.
Bit of a tongue twister.
But that's
one rough run through.
That's how much I want to show you that I love you. And we are not joined by Biggie because we wanted this show to be less sexy this week.
Yeah.
And
you got scared of having two girls on the podcast last week.
Yeah, clearly it is less sexy. But we'll push through it. And I know about 5,000 listeners have tuned off now. We'll see you next week. Don't worry. But before we get into the main meat of the show, Stig, we've got some corporate shilling to do, haven't we?
Yes, we certainly do. That's a good one take. Bloody coughs.
That's got it.
That couldn't have come at the worst time, could it?
Leave it in.
Could you die quietly, please? Some of us are trying to podcast.
It's making me cough now.
Right. Now that I've stopped dying, I can tell you all about our Patreon. We have a Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/Modern Escapism, you will find that we have 3 tiers on there. The first is Modern Escapees. For £5 a month, you'll get extended editions of this episode every week, as well as at least one monthly special and any other specials that we do. If you are into Dungeons & Dragons, we do a D&D actual play podcast called Do Dragons Dream of Scorched Sheep. And for £5 a month, the Scorched Sheep tier gets you ad-free early access of the episodes, as well as any battle maps, artwork, music, and artwork that we put together for the show. And you can also suggest NPC names and items for Gadget to use as the DM. And if you're feeling flush, £7.50, the Biggie bundle, and gets you everything.
Oh, yeah.
Also as a side note, for people who have wanted to leave NPC things for Scorched Sheep, I fixed the Google form so you can now actually do that.
We were complaining. No one's done it.
Yeah, it's because the form was fucked.
Why did anyone tell us the form was fucked? Come on.
Well, thank you to Smashes Clear for pointing out that the form was fucked.
For that, he gets to name more than one. He gets to name 2. Right then, let's get to what we've been doing this week. We're going to start with me, and long-term listeners of the show will be pleased to know that I am back on the ale. So, yeah, I am not sober Oodles anymore. Which
will explain what you've done to your hair.
My hair? Yeah. Great discussion for an audio-based medium. I have changed my hair. And I'm happy with it. I don't care. Coming from a man with no hair.
How dare you? I cannot help this.
Oh, okay. Now I feel bad.
You should feel bad.
But
you're a bad person and you should feel bad.
What have I been up to this week? Not much, but I have done something. I have done something that I'm kind of proud and sickened by. I have watched.
Yeah.
No, watched, not washed. I've done that. I have watched every Spider-Man film this week.
Including Spider-Man 3?
Including Spider-Man 3.
Oh, that explains why you've gone for that swept-over hair.
No, this is why I said. This is why I said it's going to look sus in our Discord. I've had my hair done. That is completely
He was
irrelevant.
looking at Toby, wasn't he, going, do you know what?
No.
He definitely had something going on in that film.
No, because I did my hair before that, actually.
What, before 2006?
Yes. Less about my hair. I don't want this to be about my hair at all. God, you can't do fuck all. Candy can rock up with blue hair and no one talks about it. It's ridiculous. Bring
Oh,
Biggie back.
because if Candy turned up with blue hair, she wouldn't be replicating Peter Parker in the worst Spider-Man film.
No, neither am I. My hair's way longer than that. Anyway, yes. So I want to discuss the Spider.
That's the important difference.
Yes, that's the important difference. I want to discuss the Spider-Mans. So, I haven't watched the Sam Raimi films for years. I don't know if you guys have.
No,
It's been a while since I watched them.
The first one is fucking shit. And it's not the plot, because I like the Goblin in it. I think it's a great villain, really camp. But the dialogue in the first one is notably disgustingly crap.
What year did it come out? Do you remember?
Oh,
99?
99.
That was 2001.
Yeah, it's just shockingly bad. It's so... it feels like you're watching a play, but a play that like teenagers have done.
I mean, such quality dialogue is from Willem Dafoe. I'm something of a scientist myself.
Yes. Oh God, yeah. That's one of the ones, and that bit when Aunt May slaps him at the dinner table, and she really does it. And Willem Dafoe's so fucking stunned. It looks like he's gonna hit her. But yeah, the first one's really bad, and it doesn't hold up at all. Especially the school scenes where these 30-odd-year-olds are pretending to be kids. That's more noticeable than like things like American Pie and things like that. But the second one, the quality jump is absolutely astronomical. Like, I don't know what happened in between those years, but the scriptwriter got better.
Is the first one the one where the Goblin blows the wall out and Aunt May's like...
Yeah.
Yes.
During her prayers.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that scene is so bad.
She's like, it's the devil! It's got
She's
yellow
like-
eyes!
God, the woman that plays Aunt May is terrible.
Oh, God,
Like,
she is.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, Tobey Maguire was 25 when he filmed the first Spider-Man
Yeah.
film.
God.
I mean, he looks it, to be fair. He doesn't look like a teenager.
No.
It is what I quite like about Tom Holland, even though I think he was 19 when he first played
Still looked
Spider-Man.
young.
Yeah, looked like a 15-year-old.
We'll get to that. So, yeah, the second one absolutely jumps up in quality. It's just an overall better film. And as we all know, the better of the three. Now, something happens. Massive. I don't need to discuss the second one because we all know it's good. It still kind of holds up. Alfred Molina is the best thing in it. We all know that. He
carries that film, absolutely.
These are not new things. These are not hot takes.
The scene with the when they're trying to remove the arms off his back.
Yeah, God, it's
and it goes all haywire. Yeah,
It's incredible.
Brilliant scene, that.
I always still love the fight in the bank.
Yeah, me
like
too.
that whole set piece, just when Doc Ock kind of pulls the vault door off and hurls it at Peter. It's just so good.
It's really good. The CGI's got better. The dialogue is just so much improved. It's ridiculous. It's as if Tobey Maguire is a different Peter Parker in it. I know he's supposed to be older and stuff like that, but it's just even Kirsten Dunst is a lot better in this. Not so much Franco.
No. He kind of takes a dive off a cliff there.
Yeah.
I like James Franco in the first one.
Yeah, I did.
He's very sympathetic in the first one, and the second one
he's trying to do a Willem Dafoe impersonation, and it's not working.
No,
at all. The third one, wow. Wow, I forgot.
That good, eh? That good.
No, I forgot how bad this is. Oh my word! Like the thing with the symbiote. Sorry if you've not seen this like 15-year-old film, everybody. Got the symbiote stuff. I mean, some of it shot for shot from the original run of the comics, but it's just done bad. It's just done really bad. The sound editing, Gadget, you cannot watch Spider-Man 3. The sound editing is minging.
Really?
Oh, it's so bad.
Kind of curious to watch now.
No, don't.
Like, I saw Spider-Man 3 at the cinema when it came out, and I felt cheated then.
Yeah.
But that was just as I was starting my audio degree.
God. There's something they've done, because obviously in Spider-Man 1 and 2 they do muffle Peter Parker's voice behind the mask because he's got no kind of like device that makes his voice different. In this one he's going he's doing it all the way through it, like talking through it. I'll get you. Like, it's proper bad. It's proper bad. It's worse than Bane. Why has nobody talked about this?
Oh, actually, to go back slightly, that does remind me. Every time I watch the first Spider-Man film, the first Raimi Spider-Man, I can never get over the fact that Willem Dafoe ADR'd all of his dialogue as Green Goblin.
Yeah.
But you can see his mouth through the Goblin mask not moving when he's speaking. It's fucking hilarious.
It's just so bad. And then something revolutionary happened. I watched The Amazing Spider-Man. That's a fucking good film.
Really, you think so? I didn't
Yeah.
like either of
Andrew
the Amazing
Garfield.
Spider-Man
Andrew
films.
Garfield is the best Peter Parker bar none. And I'm saying that now. I'm putting that on record. He is incredible in that first one. He's got his skateboard. He's good looking. Even the girls know he's good looking. He's still a dweeb. Aunt May's better in this. Uncle Ben's better in this. I know it's more or less a retread of the first one, but it's better. He looks more of age appropriate. He's still an adult playing a kid, but it's just better. It's darker. It's got a bit more mood. The Spider-Man suit looks better. His eyes are a little bit too dark, but it doesn't matter. And then the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is fucking wank.
It's awful. It's so bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
See, I never saw Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I didn't like Amazing Spider-Man 1.
No, I wasn't a massive fan. The only thing I kind of liked out of those films was the relationship between Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy.
It's incredible.
But that's obviously helped by the fact that they were together in real life.
Yes, you
at
can
the
tell.
time. So
When they kiss, they are fucking tonguing.
yeah.
They are going for it. But
It was a little early to reboot the series as well, I think.
It was. We all know why they rebooted it, but the second one is so bad. And the ending where they're trying to lead into the Sinister Six stuff, it's like, fucking shut up. This is awful. And the Rhino looks crap. Anyway.
Didn't make the Rhino robotic.
Yes.
As opposed to just being a really fucking big guy.
Yeah,
it's Paul Giamatti.
It's Paul Giamatti, yeah.
In a big robot suit.
Doing a big racist accent. But after that, obviously we get to Homecoming. What a sensational film. What a sensational film.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love him.
Tom Holland's not my favourite Peter Parker, but he's probably the best Spider-Man. I think
I
he's in
really
the suit,
like Tom.
he's incredible.
I really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man because I think he's got that right level of nervousness around him.
Yes.
Apart from maybe the first bit of the first Tobey Maguire film, like Peter Parkers have all been played with a level of confidence around them.
Yeah.
And Tom Holland's Peter Parker doesn't have that, and I love it. I think it's great.
At all. There's the scene my favourite scene in the whole film of Homecoming is when he's in the car with Toombs.
That's so good.
That is Tarantino level tense. That is fucking up there. That is
the lighting. The lighting in that
Everything.
scene's brilliant as well. Like, not many people seem to pick up on the fact that when
shadows and stuff.
No, but as soon as he clicks, the lights turn green.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
shines
she's
on
like,
his
come on,
face.
Dad, the light's green, come on. And it's just, that scene encapsulates it.
Also, full credits to Michael Keaton for just being absolutely brilliant as to.
He's brilliant in everything.
He does
though,
Sinister
isn't
very well, doesn't he?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But yeah, that film's just really good. Not a massive fan of Ned. I don't dislike Ned, but
I like
as
that.
as a sidekick, he's fine. He does the job. I never understood why he picked the other girl over Zendaya on the first one. The brain.
He's just infatuated. He's just infatuated with her, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I'd rather have the cool girlfriend rather than the pretty one. But they're both stunning. You know what I mean? Both stunning young women.
Well, I think it's supposed to be that he doesn't really notice MJ as someone he's infatuated
Well,
with.
remember,
You know,
she's
he
Michelle in
notices-
that film, isn't she?
Yeah, but MJ. But, you know, he does, because they're such good friends, like, he just doesn't notice her that way until he realizes that, like, shit, what happens if I lose her, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
She got friend zoned.
And then I watched Far From Home.
I like it.
I like the beginning of it. I like the stuff where he's thinking about things that have happened in the past. What's happened to mentors and father figures and stuff like that. I'm trying to be vague. Well, I was lamenting that, and I was trying to still be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, even though he's got a nanotech suit on and stuff like that. It's pretty fucking cool. I like the Mysterio stuff, but I just really don't like the ending in London. Not a big fan of that.
I really like how they did Mysterio in this, because in like the original, like in the 90s cartoon and the comic books,
FX artist, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's never kind of explained how he does it. It's just that he sets up all this shit that goes off. Yeah. Whereas this one, like giving the explanation and like the use of the Stark tech and
the drones,
the drones, and just like the reveal of like when you get the turn.
Oh god,
with
yeah,
him, it's so good.
It's really good.
So good.
It's really good.
And everyone, I mean, this is spoilers. You might have to put a spoiler out for people because this it's not that new, but it's fairly new.
Yeah,
I mean, Kurt. I don't want to ruin his podcast. But
I think he's probably seen this one. He's a big Spider-Man fan.
All the people in the turn are all like from previous MCU
Yes.
films.
Yeah, they are.
Tony Stark has had a run-in with, or
The
like
same actors as well, aren't
yeah,
they?
the same actors, the same characters, people that have a grudge against Tony
Yeah,
Stark.
he's so clever. It's just the ending. I just think it drops the ball for me. But then again, the ending is
the
incredible.
ending is very good.
It's really good. And
I also like how with both of the end of the Tom Holland Spider-Man films, they literally cut on a
yes,
as in say fuck.
Yeah.
I think that's so funny.
And then I watched Into the Spider-Verse, and that's the best one.
Ended on the best one, yeah.
It's the best one. It's by far the
argue
best.
with that. It's incredible.
It's the best. He's the best. Miles Morales is the best Spider-Man. Everything about it's just the best one.
It's absolute. It's one of the most visually sumptuous animated films I've ever seen. Just
it doesn't even feel like you're watching an animated film, mate.
No, but like it's just like the way the characters are done. They've kind of got like those little kind of comic book outlines to them, but
so good.
They look kind of real, but kind of not real. I love that Miles spends the entire film running at 15 frames a second until the very end of the film.
Yeah.
When you get the last battle, so the colors.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad I bought the UHD version of it because it just pops off the screen. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And
it's
it's like
the music's
an assault
incredible.
on the senses.
Everything about it is just
one of the other things in that film, and when I watched it in the cinema, I actually went out and said, I think you've put like the 3D version on.
Yeah.
And I found out after I was read, and I was like, I'm watching this, I'm like, bits of this are in 3D. My eyes are all blurry, and it's on purpose. It's meant to be him, his spider sense not kicking in properly, and so you're seeing the world like his senses see it a bit, and it's just like. But I'm watching this going, I'm in the wrong one here.
It's against what you know, isn't it?
It does have that green and red lines that look like 3D, and I was thinking, I'm in the wrong screen in here. Like they've put a 3D version on.
Yeah, and
there isn't a 3D version. It's just that's how it's meant to be. And
there's
then
also
afterwards, I was like, oh, that's actually really good.
Yeah, there's the excellent music cues with the Prowler as well, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Oh god, it's so fucking good. But yeah, I watched all the Spider-Mans because I need to really get back into Spider-Man because everyone in the world loves it except for me. Like I like Spider-Man as a hero. He's just not been my favorite because I'm like some contrarian comic book nerd fuck. And I like things that
you're a proper comic elitist, aren't you?
Yeah, but I kind of appreciate the efforts that even Raimi did and stuff. Not on the third one and not on Amazing Spider-Man 2. Them two are just absolute shite. They were just rushed.
I think Spider-Man works as a very good gateway into comic book worlds.
Yeah, I get why he's number one.
Because he's young and he's reasonably innocent and he's got a good moral code about it.
Yeah.
And the baddies in his world tend to be quite over the top and quite vivacious and very colourful and stuff like that. Like, you know, I will always remember the look of Shocker in the TV series.
Oh God, yeah.
Shocker Electro. Yeah, but I can't never remember what they actually
Shocker,
call him. But
he's the yellow one with the wrists. Electro's the green one with the star.
That's fucking helpful. Yeah, Shocker then. You always remember like the look of Shocker and what he looks like because he's just. What other comic book series has a bright yellow fucking villain? Yeah, you know,
it's so weird. It's so weird. But yeah, it's just. I think I really like what they've done with it. I get the 4 different takes. The Spider mythos in general. There's something to take from each one.
Yeah.
I think Tobey Maguire's the worst Peter Parker. I think he's the worst Spider-Man, but he's not in the worst films. You know what I mean? It's so fucking hard to pick because he is fucking brilliant in Spider-Man 2. The train scene in general, fucking hell.
Oh yeah,
that
so
is Tobey
good.
Maguire's best acting in his life by far. But yeah, he's just Tobey Maguire, isn't it? Blech. But yeah, Spider-Man films.
But it could be worse. He could be Topher Grace.
Oh God!
Oh yeah,
he's supposed to be Eddie Brock. Him. The fuck?
I
forgot all about that
70s show.
Eddie Brock is meant to be about 6'12",
an ex-footballer.
Yeah, I would say he's meant to be basically be Brock Lesnar, isn't he?
Yeah, basically, an absolute monster. But fucking hell, Spider-Man 3 is so bad. But yeah, I did it because I need to get back into Spider-Man, and I was looking at getting the game on PS5, and no, it's still $69.99, so I'm not getting that.
I think now's probably a good time to rewatch them all, especially with a new film coming out, because obviously it's going to echo back to some of the older ones. If you're going to do it,
the Marvel, the MCU ones, well, the Sony /MCU, they work on their own. You know, you don't have to know much about anything. So, yeah. But anyway, I've took up enough time. I've took Biggie's slot as well. Talking about Spider-Mans. I've been watching them. I've watched them all. Ask me anything, guys, listeners. But I'm saying it, Andrew Garfield's the best Peter Parker. That is on record. Okay. What have you been doing, Gadget?
So I've been playing a video game that in a series I've never played before. And it's fucking banging because I've been playing Metroid Dread.
Metroid Dread. The game I can't afford yet.
It's fucking spectacular. So,
I didn't want you to say that.
Yeah, but Metroid is a long-running franchise dating all the way back to the original NES. You play Samus Aran, kind of bombing around different planets, murdering the shit out of things, generally exploring. Yeah, bounty hunter, upgrading yourself, and generally, working your way through these mazes. It is one half of the portmanteau that is the Metroidvania, and along with Castlevania, kind of developed this kind of subgenre of adventure games where you do a lot of backtracking, you upgrade your powers, you can unlock new areas, and you kind of just have this kind of one very large map to kind of move
2D action RPG kind of things.
Sort of, yeah, with not much of the RPG element to it.
Maybe on the Castlevania side there is, but yeah.
Yeah, Castlevania, there's more RPG. Anyway, so yeah, the most experience I've had with a Metroid game was when the Nintendo Online stuff came on and they had the SNES games, and I tried playing Super Metroid and gave up after an hour because playing that on Joy-Cons is hellish.
Oh, it's fine.
Not with Joy-Cons, man. It's impossible to control.
Down, left, right on the Joy-Cons is shite.
It's fine. I beat it.
Yes, I know, but your Switch was like grafted to your hands.
No, actually, I played it on the Switch Lite. I've just remembered.
So you had a D-pad.
Yeah, so I had a D-pad, yeah. So my comment is null and void. I will go back in my hole.
Try and play it on your big boy Switch.
Not when I've got a good pad for it.
So when that came out, I tried to play it and kind of really failed with it because, the directional buttons on the Switch are really kind of poor, and you need very precise control because Samus moves in a very, very 1990s kind of way, and it's very easy to die if you move incorrectly, shall we say. But, I got an appreciation of it. I understood it, but I've seen plenty of, videos on it and speed runs of it and stuff like that. So I know what Metroid is about. So this game came out. It's the first one for, was it nearly 20 years?
My God.
Maybe 15 years, something like that.
GameCube was the last one, wasn't it?
No, it's the sequel to Metroid Fusion, which
19 years ago on Game Boy Advance.
Oh, Game Boy Advance. Mm-hmm.
Shit. They've done Metroid since, but they've been remakes like Samus Returns. Remake.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's the first one for a very long time.
Wow. Mainline one, yeah.
Yeah, and it's incredible. It's amazing.
Don't say that.
Narratively, it's a load of bullshit. You don't need to care about the narrative. The narrative was written on the back of a fag packet in a pub.
See, which is weird because Fusion had a lot of chatting, and Other M on the Wii.
Yeah, we don't talk about Other M though. That was supposed to be terrible.
It is.
Federation Force was supposed to be better than that.
It was.
The narrative kind of doesn't make much sense as to why Samus would be on this planet, but anyway, she goes to this planet called ZDR or something like that, in hunt of these 7 EMMI devices, EMMI, which are these self-configurating robots that are designed to look for stuff. It can be like rescue bots, or they can hunt things down, anything like that. They're almost like robot bounty hunters.
Yeah.
And they've been on this planet, and the signal has gone. So Samus goes to find out what's going on.
Oh.
She lands on the planet. She gets attacked by, is it Chozo?
Yeah, Chozo.
Yeah, attacked by some badass Chozo guy, loses all of her shit, as she does at the beginning of every game, apparently.
It's not Ridley or anything, is it? The big pterodactyl?
No.
Oh, that's fine then.
It's just like a warrior-looking guy.
Chozo thing.
Yeah, so she loses all her abilities and then has to start finding them again.
Of course she loses all her abilities. Of course.
The game is gorgeous. It's one of the best-looking Switch games I've played.
Oh.
It runs at a buttery smooth 60 frames a second. I've been playing it for about 5 or 6 hours now. I've not had a single frame drop.
Oh.
The EMMIs are fucking terrifying. They are like you say, they're these self-configurating robots. They stalk through the map hunting you.
Oh shit!
Think like a robot version of Mr. X
or
from
Nemesis.
Resident Evil 2. Or Nemesis, yeah. When you walk into an area, if there's one nearby, and it can hear you across the map. So you'll get like a little radar ping if it spots roughly where you are, then it'll come to investigate. A little bit like Metal Gear Solid, if you make a noise that a guard will find.
It's just a box.
Yeah. When it spots you, it chases you. And when it chases you, it's fucking fast.
Really?
It's really fucking fast.
So you can't kill them or out like that?
So you get this Omega beam thing when you beat the first boss, and that is the one way to kill them.
Right, okay.
But once you've killed one, you've used your charge up of the Omega beam.
Oh, shit. Okay. So you have to
kill bosses to get the energy.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Kill these things. But so when they're coming at you, you turn on this Omega beam thing, and you've got to shoot the armor off their head, and then use a charge shot to kill them. When you go into like the shooting when you equip the Omega beam, the camera tilts. So normally it's like a 2D side on screen, but then the camera tilts over Samus's shoulder as you're shooting at this thing, which is crawling slowly towards you, menacingly, so menacingly. It's fucking unreal. And then, so you get the shield off, and then you have to then charge up the shot to kill it. But if it's too close to you, it'll just kill you, and it one-shots you every time.
Oh.
You can't defend against it. It's so intense. And I didn't, with the first Emmy I fought, I really didn't like it. I thought, no, this isn't for me. And then when I got to the second one and started like really enjoying the chase, I'm like, oh, no, I like this. It's stressful as all fuck, but it's so good.
Oh, you're proper selling it for me, mate.
You need it, Oodles.
Oh, God.
This, I know I said about Deathloop, but this one might be my game of the year. Like,
really?
I'm not even halfway through it, and it's just, I can't stop thinking about it.
I already owe-stick 300 quid. I can't.
It also made me realize something about what the kind of games I'm starting to enjoy. I'm really starting to enjoy tense games.
Ooh, yes,
Like
mate.
I'm thinking back to like the games that have really kind of stuck with me over the last kind of couple of years, and like stuff like Death Stranding. So there's Metroid Dread, some of the stuff in Deathloop.
Yeah.
About 2 of the levels in Resident Evil 8. Like, it's all the stuff that like is really tense. Not necessarily, you don't have to be being chased, but
you don't have to be scared. It's more the tension building.
Yeah, it's not the horror. It's the tension building. It's the knowing that like one fuck up and you've lost this level, you've got to start again or something.
I can't wait for you to play Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I can't fucking wait. It's as long as it's got colorblind filter. That'll be great. So tense.
I can always gauge how tense a game is by how much I'm actually sitting on the sofa. Like, the less of my ass is on the sofa, and the closer I'm leaning, the more tense it is.
Well, I mean, some of these chases with the Emmy, it's been like that thing from The Simpsons where Marge just sat kind of halfway in the middle of the living room.
Yeah. She's not realising
so far off the edge of her seat.
Yeah, she's been scrooching up to. Oh, that's so fucking good to know.
Yeah, it's really good. Apparently, it's not very long. Apparently, it's only like 8 or 9 hours long.
That's fine for a Metroidvania. They don't have to be ridiculous. Because there'll be loads of collectibles that you can 100% it and double time.
It's one good thing that I like about it. Like, the map will tell you if you've missed a secret in an area.
You can
not
complete,
in an obvious way.
You can complete Symphony of the Night in 4 hours, but if you want to do everything, it's going to take you about 20 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's got some gorgeous set pieces. The level design is brilliant. All these kind of really intricate little mazes, and it's really nice when you just like get through a door that you've not seen before, and you're like, oh, I'm back here again. It's great.
This will do me until Silksong comes out, really, won't it?
Absolutely, yeah. This will scratch that itch, that Metroidvania itch.
Whenever that comes out.
Oh God, come out, Silksong, please! Please come out.
So, yeah, buy Metroid Dread because it's really fucking good.
I've seen it quite cheap in places as well. I've seen it as low as 30 quid.
Yeah, I've seen some sales. I got it on Amazon for like $49.99.
You can live with that. You can live with that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Metroid Dread. Pick it up, Switch lovers. Candy, what have you been doing?
Yeah, I've done quite a few things this week, all of which, of course, have been covered already, so I'm going to just rattle through them quite quickly. I finished watching Midnight Mass, which I did enjoy. I think it was probably a little bit longer than it needed to be.
I loved it.
Yeah, I felt like the latter few episodes dragged a bit. The last episode was good, but I did really enjoy the more philosophical side of the series and the discussions on religion and death. That was a bit unexpected, actually. I was expecting more of an all-out horror.
I didn't know. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone. I didn't know the direction it was going until I was like, what? Do you know what I mean? I went, what the fuck?
I just went into it completely blind.
I thought it was going to be a ghost thing again, but
yeah, so did I.
No ghost.
And I thought it would be sort of more, like I said, like more of a horror, but it wasn't really. I mean, there were horror elements, but that wasn't the point of the thing, was it? It was.
Do you know what it reminded me of with the dialogue on that? Did you ever see Kevin Smith's Red State?
Yes.
It reminded me of that. All these massive, long religious monologues for like 15 minutes straight with no cuts. It did that, didn't it? A few times. I was like, whoa.
It was very, very talky. Actually, it was it's not unlike a Kevin Smith film because they're all very talky, aren't they?
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good comparison.
There's one cut that I saw, and it was on a thing I read about as well. I think it's like a 13-minute cut of one guy talking.
And I was completely hooked as well. I didn't find myself drifting off at all. I was actually listening to all of it. But just the last few episodes, I thought probably some bits were a little bit unnecessary, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I went to see the new Bond.
What did you think?
I thought Daniel Craig was really, really good in it. I thought the action was good, but it's a Bond film, so it has to be. I thought the story was absolutely dire.
Thank you.
Yeah, like you said, Gadget, there was no reason for the big bad to be doing what he was doing. And he's a really, really good actor as well, and they just did not give him enough to do. He had about 5 lines in the whole thing. Yeah.
He's normally really intense. He's really good.
Yeah.
It's like I said in my review, like he's just playing kind of foreign weirdo again.
Absolutely. And I know in the classic Bonds, the baddies were bad just because they were bad.
But they were camper films, weren't they? They weren't serious.
Times have changed now, and people do question these things, and you don't take it for face value. I want to know exactly what the plan was, because apparently there wasn't any. I didn't. It was a good cinematic romp. It was a good old popcorn film, so I would have been disappointed not to see it. It's
weird that like people are saying like it's so like weird. Rami Malek, his character, it doesn't make sense. This is coming from a series now, the Daniel Craig ones, where he's bashing people's heads on urinals and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like a proper grounded, down to earth Bond, but everyone keeps saying it's a bit daft. This last one,
and they're all pretty well. They're a good series of Bond films. There's an overarching story in it, and this guy just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, like the wizard at the end of Wizard of Oz, just behind the curtain. It was me all along.
Yeah.
But it's not even like it's a me all along thing. He's just the next bad guy.
Oh God!
It's like he's not part of Spectre. He's not being manipulated by Spectre or anything like that. Like he's got no association of Spectre other than there is one plot point in the film. But
it's a shame.
He shouldn't be like the overriding bad guy for the 5th film in the saga.
It's all right. We'll see Tom Hardy in 3 years doing it.
No, I don't think it'll be him. I think it'll be somebody a bit more unknown. Although I would like to see Tom Hardy.
It might be Stig.
Yeah.
That's why he's gone all quiet.
He had to be quiet then. Oh shit, we're nearly revealed.
There's that NDA. I've been cracking on with Death Stranding as well. I've got to the sort of main map now, so I've been quite taken aback by just how much the map's changed. Not just in terms of the sort of scenery and stuff. There's so much more vegetation. There seems to be a lot more streams than I remember.
There is.
There's rocks that were just flat out not there before, like specific rock formations, and I remember it quite clearly. And I'm not sure if I'm misremembering as well, but it feels as if you're getting some equipment much earlier at earlier points in the game.
You're getting newer equipment and equipment that weren't even in the original game, but you are getting it earlier. There's also, like, Gadget will remember as well, the junkyard. Remember trying to get to the junkyard? It's been cleaned up.
Yeah.
It's been cleaned up.
Yeah.
Oh, thank fuck for that. That was such a pain in the dick.
That's actually the bit that I did today.
Yeah, it's been proper cleaned up. You can get there really easily. There's a lot to scenery that they've changed just for the better. It makes the vistas look better though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I was the first time I had to go up to the not the wind farm, the weather station.
Oh, weather station. Yeah.
And where I would normally sort of plot the map, I could just look with my eye. I could see it all the way in the distance. So I was like, I can see it, so I'm just going to go to it. So it's amazing just how much you can see and how much of the map is rendered at the same time.
There's less fog, isn't there now?
Yeah, it's just I just love it. It's so weird to me how some people, you either absolutely love it or you hate it. There's no kind of middle ground. There's no one that said, yeah, it's all right, quite enjoyed it. It either really resonates with you or you just don't get it at all.
I think it's transcendent. It's just absolutely spellbinding from start to finish.
It's an experience, yeah.
I can't wait for you to see the extra bits near the end. I was fucking crying, so...
Oh, well, I cried the first time, but I always cry at games. There's so many people playing it as well. I don't know if you found the same thing, but I'm seeing structures like springing up all around me, like roads being built, and every time I call out, I'll get a reply as well. So there's lots more people.
Yeah.
Getting
So
it all at
do you
once
know
the
when you first
time
get to when you first leave the main city and then they say go to the through the forest, the wind farm. It's horrible, an horrible, nasty, tense moment. That many people were playing it that week when I got it, like week 1. There was already zip lines to get me across. It's like, woo, bye, dickheads! And there was like full highways when I got to the middle of America scene, like the biggest map. There was just highways. I'm like, this is fucking incredible.
Yeah, most of the roads were already built by the time I got there as well, which made things easier. But it does. But it's also, I wonder how much of the challenge being taken away from the game is going to spoil the experience for new players.
I don't think it does. I think it makes it better. It makes it, because like even Sam himself, he's got more moves. Like he can powerbomb people and stuff now. I don't know if you've tried it. He's like a wrestler now. He can do loads of weird. He can do that flying lariat kick or whatever it's called. Yeah. It's so fucking good. It just makes the game play so much better. And like the fact that you don't have to even though narratively, if you kill somebody in that game, they're going to blow up. They don't blow up anymore. So it's good.
I haven't had any void outs yet, luckily.
Yeah, because it won't happen.
Yeah.
So it just makes it more fun. Like you can start using guns, because there were guns in the game, but you didn't want to use them. You didn't want to kill anybody. But now you can just blast the bastards.
I'm sure that we didn't get guns till much later in the game either.
Yeah,
you didn't get normal guns until
near the end,
after you met Mama.
Yeah,
and I've already got I've got the bowler gun and the anti-BT gun as well already.
Yeah, it's just a much more fun stream. Like, don't bother with the kart racing; it's boring. But you're gonna have to try it for the trophy anyway, aren't you?
Oh, of course. And the last thing I've done, very briefly, is I watched a documentary called Britney versus Spears, and it's a documentary about obviously Britney Spears. It's about her court case to basically win back control of her own life. So she was placed in a really controversial conservatorship presided over by her father since 2008. And it's just, it's whether you like Britney Spears or not, I can quite understand why you wouldn't. But the situation that she's been put in is just, it's disgusting the way it's been allowed to happen in this day and age. She's basically literally a slave.
So I don't know nothing about this at all. It's not something I've been privy to. It's not my scene. So,
but her father controls all of her money, everything that she does with her time. He's the one that's responsible for telling her what she's going to do in terms of shows. And
that's horrible.
Basically her whole life. And she actually has to ask his permission to buy school books for her kids. And there was, I think for her birthday, her special treat was that she was allowed to drive her car by herself for 20 minutes, being followed by a bunch of people.
She's a woman.
Yeah, exactly. She's a 40-year-old woman almost, and she just owns no aspect of her life. And the documentary ends with this kind of monologue that she's given in the latest court case, and she actually has. It seems as though she actually has found a voice, and it's actually quite moving. So I've got a little bit of a newfound respect for her, and I certainly more supportive of her as an artist. But yeah, I hope she gets out of this horrible situation.
I'm telling you now, Toxic's a banger. It's a banger.
She has, I think.
Oh shit!
Oh, she actually has.
Yeah, I think he's.
Yeah, she's got. Yeah, I think her dad's come off it now. She's still in a conservatorship, but she's got her own lawyer doing it now.
Yeah.
How could that even happen? Is it just bad because she was young and things were signed?
So do you remember when Britney had the meltdown and she shaved her head and all that stuff? Yeah, so when that happened, Jamie Spears, her dad, applied to the court to put her under like psych evaluations and stuff like that.
I get you.
And as part of that, the judge granted him conservatorship. Now, in America, conservatorships normally last either a few months for someone who's had like a breakdown or something like that, or is incapable of handling their life, or is someone who is like 95 and can't be trusted to handle their own money.
Absolutely. They do it for rich billionaires and that, don't they, when they get to the end of their lives and stuff like that.
Yeah, stop people taking advantage of them. The problem is, and it's quite unusual for someone so young, there was no end date put on the conservatorship.
That's so fucking wild.
So Britney Spears in 2008, when she was going through the worst time in her life, when she had like cameras like right in her face all the time, people like breaking into her house to like look through her rubbish and stuff like that to gossip about her. She has this breakdown, and then her dad just kind of swoops in and takes control of her life, and no judge has ever said this needs to be reviewed every year or every 5 years or whatever.
Wow.
No, just for life.
That's horrible.
She's tried so many times to like get out of it as well, like kind of.
Because I bet he's been spending her fucking money behind her back, hasn't he?
Well, that's what the rumours are saying, that he's like squandered.
I bet he's
about
not skint, is he?
Well, it's reckoned that he might have spent, and this is allegedly, obviously I don't know this. This is all
we don't want to be
but,
sued by him.
But apparently, the rumours are that he spent about half of her fortune.
Fuck, and I bet it was
That's on top of his 10% fee.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gross.
Fucking horrible bastard. Ugh. Anyway, we'll get Britney on the show and she can tell us everything.
But yeah, that's been my week. So sorry, it's been nothing particularly new, but I thought I'd just give my
busy though.
worth on what we've been doing.
Nice and jam packed.
Yeah.
At least you weren't just watching Spider-Man all week.
That's next week. That's
weird. Yeah, get them watched. Anyway, Stig, what have you been doing? You've been watching Spider-Man?
I haven't been watching Spider-Man, no.
But you're gonna now.
No, I'm not. I forgot to talk about this last week, just quickly, because I binged all of Cobra Kai.
Oh, yes.
Recently, and I finished it. I don't know why I forgot. I had it in my notes to talk about last week, and I just forgot. But yeah, it's really enjoyable, isn't it?
It's good, isn't it? It's proper daft.
So good.
For like a show that's based on these characters who are rivals because of a karate competition when they were like 16. It's really daft, but I'm kind of really intrigued in Johnny and Daniel's like tale.
The dynamic switch, doesn't it? It's so good.
Yeah, but I really like the adult stuff more than the kids stuff. The kids
so
stuff
do I, mate.
The kids stuff gets a bit corny.
What, when they're having fights in the fucking school and stuff like that? Like Power Rangers.
Yeah. And like breaking into each other's houses and having this big like brawl in a house and stuff.
I mean, it is corny, but it's so self-aware as well. It doesn't hide from being corny. It loves it.
I love it, mate.
Martin Cove is still brilliant as John Kreese.
Yep.
Even better, I think, now than he was in the films.
He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He knows exactly what he's fucking doing.
Yeah, he's really good. The only thing that I can't suspend my disbelief for is Eli. I just can't see him as a fighter or a badass or anything. It's like, no matter how many tattoos and like stupid,
it don't work, does it?
Different mohawks you give him, like no, he just doesn't come across as capable of being able to do what the show wants you to believe in.
It reminds me of I don't know which one it is from Power Rangers, Bulk and Skull. What the skinny one? I think it was Skull, wasn't it? Power Rangers. It reminds me of him. It's like, fuck off. Remember when they became Bobbies as well? Wow, Power Rangers were weird.
There's an episode titled "Wow, Power Rangers were weird."
I forgot to mention that the other week, but yeah, I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
and
good, man.
Season 4 is out very soon, so that's pretty good. A couple of new things I did this week though is first up, I watched with my kids a new kids film called Ron's Gone Wrong.
Oh, I've been seeing this advertised over Instagram.
Wrong.
Yeah,
that's another tough one to say when you're from Yorkshire as well. Ron's gone wrong.
Ron's gone wrong.
Ron's gone wrong.
So this is about a young boy called Barney who he can't afford a Bee-Bot, but everyone else in school has one. And Bee-Bots are these little robots which all the kids have with them, and they just, social media and likes and videos, and it records everything they do. Like
it's the whole life, yeah, like a mobile phone that's sentient.
A mobile phone, but a little robot that follows you around and just records.
That'll
everything.
Be soon, guys. That'll be soon.
And he eventually gets one, but he's given a broken one that can't connect to the network and can't go online. So it only has basic functions, but because it's not connected to the network, it starts to develop its own personality and starts to develop stuff that the other robots don't. And it obviously it learns new things and learns things that it's not programmed to do. And it's just a story about, obviously, it's that typical, hey kids, here's a story about not being too connected to everything. Don't spend all your time on your phone. Don't spend all your time with screens. Don't care about likes and videos and your TikTok views and everything. But
make sure you check out this QR code.
Yeah, but look at these two offline and having an absolute beaut time.
Yeah, playing in the park and stuff.
Yeah, it's just one of those kind of sentimental, films to teach kids about things like that, about friendship and how bullying's wrong and all that kind of stuff, and how social media lives don't mean anything. You should have friendship in real life, don't do it through a computer, blah, blah, blah. But it was funny and enjoyable, and it's a good one to watch with your kids. My kids really liked it. I laughed at a lot of the jokes on it. It's not as good as Mitchell's versus the Machines, which has like a kind of a similar premise behind it, but it was enjoyable, pretty good. If you've got kids, young age, 8 or under or something, they're going to really enjoy it.
What's it called again?
Ron's Gone Wrong.
I have to say it slow. Ron's Gone Wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, it stars Zach Galifianakis as Ron the robot. Olivia Colman's in it. Ed Helms. Rob Delaney. So,
fucking hell, that's a cast.
Yeah. Justice Smith, who was the guy out of the Pokemon film, Detective Pikachu.
Is it a cartoon or a CGI thing?
Yes, CGI cartoon. So, yeah. But yeah, the other one I really wanted to talk about was Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills. Now, that is all over Twitter, that at the moment.
So Halloween Kills is the follow-up to the 2018 reboot. It is the second part of a trilogy by David Gordon Green, and this takes place directly after the 2018 film. So a bit of spoilers about that one I'm going to talk about is, at the end of that film, Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, and her daughter and granddaughter leave Michael Myers in a burning house, trapped in a burning house. Film starts with them escaping the house and the fire trucks going the other way, because naturally, as a house is burning down, the fire department will turn up.
Yeah.
Because they don't know Michael's down there, he's managed to hide behind something and survive it, and then he just kills all the firemen, and he's free. That's all in the trailer, that bit. I mean, there's a lot of kills in the trailer, to be fair. But yeah, he manages to take out about 10 firemen by himself. They're all there with axes and hose. You know how powerful those hoses are.
Yeah, like and how big firemen tend to be.
Yeah, he just no problem for Michael Myers.
Wow.
So yeah, Michael Myers then goes back to Haddonfield and starts to terrorize people, and it starts well. We get some flashback scenes to 1978. We get some flashback scenes to the night of him terrorizing Jamie Lee Curtis and her friends and things, and what led up to his capture. And then about halfway through, it just really goes off the rails. Like, some of the dialogue is really bad. Some of the setups with the town people are just shocking. Like, they start chanting this chant, which is just like, it's just so awful. And I get what they're going for. They are trying to show that Michael's driving this town crazy. Like, and all of a sudden they become a mob and want justice, and they go looking for him as a mob. But then it starts to do the really stupid horror tropes where a group of people go off together and goes, we must stick together because that's the safest thing. And then they get to where they need to go, and like
split up. You go that way, I go this way.
The guy's like, you guys wait here, I'll go in first. And you're like, what?
Does it do the thing where? Oh no,
we all know how that's going to end, right?
My flashlight's blinking.
No, it doesn't. No. It doesn't do that, but it's up there with some of the stuff that happens. Is up there with it, and Jamie Lee Curtis takes a backseat in this as well. It's kind of pushed onto her daughter and granddaughter. It's more their story, mainly because at the end of the last film, she got stabbed in the stomach with a massive knife. So she's in hospital. She can't really do anything.
It's enough, isn't it, to incapacitate you a little bit?
But it feels a little bit like, oh, we've not really got anything for her to do, so let's just have her in the hospital and have some dialogue about it. Michael Myers looks really cool, like with a burnt mask. He's got this like burnt out mask look on his face now, like half his mask is charred and the hair on the top is kind of all singed and burnt, and that looks pretty cool. But yeah, it's just a bit of a mess. They tried to bring legacy characters back, characters that you don't really care about. Like, it's like, oh, remember these 4 characters from the first film? Like, one of the girls that got away, or this person, that person. And you're like, not really? Like,
oh, yes, she's here. But not really.
Laurie Strode is the main character from that film. She's the only one I remember. I don't remember all the other random lot.
I think it's a shame what's happened to that franchise, because the original John Carpenter, the first one, I think
first one's
perfect,
brilliant. Yeah, the first one's great, and
then he got mystical, didn't he? He got like he kind of went down that Jason Voorhees route where he's an unstoppable force of nature.
So this is the other problem I've got with this film, is that they didn't seem to do that with the reboot. A couple of years ago, he's back to kind of being that stalker, a man. This one, the body count is
too high.
Me and Kate counted it as at least minimum 30 people.
That's too high. It's too high.
He killed 3 people in the original.
Freddy Krueger killed 3 people in the first one.
And we counted it. We're like, right, we don't know how many firemen are, so let's go with 10. Let's say there was about 10, and then we were counting it as long how many went out. But the kills are gruesome, inventive, and that's all this film is about. This film is more about how inventive and gruesome can Michael kill these people, and that's about it. That is all you're going to get from this film, unfortunately. I did quite like the 2018 reboot. It wasn't incredible.
I liked it.
Didn't stand up to the original, but it was a nice follow-on, and it kind of got rid of all the shite that they like 2, 4, 5, and 6, and all that crap. There's a nice little Easter egg for Halloween 3 in this, though, which I did enjoy.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I've just
the season of the witch.
20...
Yeah.
He kills 27 people in this film.
That's too many. That is
so I won't fire off with 30 then.
Yeah, that's far too many for one normal deranged man to do, I think.
And to be fair, that's probably the person guessing as well, because there are scenes where you can't really tell how many people there are there, but he manages to take them all out. It's just stupid. Someone just shoot him in the head.
Yeah, he's a man.
Why is it that there's a big mob of people there, and the only people with guns
in America,
and the only people with guns in America can't shoot for shit?
The country where people get shot up in libraries on a Sunday.
Come on, just shoot this guy in the head, and he's done with. But they treat him like a Jason Voorhees character, and it's not what makes Michael good. In the first film, it's the stalkish nature of him. It's the disappearing of him when you turn your back.
Yeah,
and fuck, where's he gone? And
that John Carpenter moment where you think you see him in background blurred, and then you don't see him.
Yeah, but this is just full on. Let's just watch him go and kill a lot of people.
And in the first one,
it's
in the
fun
original,
to watch people die.
In the original, he's got big bright orange hair, big white face, and a jumpsuit on.
I mean, his jumpsuit and everything, and this is the same mask and that. But
I always want to know how he gets about places, because he's a man. He's still got to eat. Is he take his mask off and go to McDonald's and stuff? It never explains any of this.
I tell you what, actually, Kate showed me a really good, funny video about that. On the internet, it basically shows, you know how in these films where someone will run away but the killer's always right behind them?
Yeah.
Regardless of how fast they are, they could drive away and then all of a sudden the killer just catches up with them. There's this video where it shows the woman running away and then the guy in a Michael Myers mask, and it cuts to him running through people's back gardens and jumping over fences and and then getting himself all ready to stalk them slowly after as he comes through a gate.
That's what it'd have to be though, wouldn't it? That's why I think Jason does work, because it is in the mythos that he is a supernatural entity.
Yeah.
So you can just expect it.
I'm pretty sure it's 4 or 5 Halloween, one of them. She drives off, hides in a bathroom miles away,
and he turns up.
But he turns up and finds her in the right stall, and I'm like, oh god, that's just so stupid.
They really are flogging a dead horse with this franchise at this point.
It's so iconic, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. The remake in 2018 was supposed to be a really good film, or at least one of the better ones of the franchise. But then, they just when you get these kind of remakes of classic horror films, and the same goes for a lot of the Jason films and that. They seem, for every good film they do, there's about 15 of them where it's just, oh, well, we know he kills people, so let's just put everyone in there to die.
Yeah, that's what this is.
And they never seem to release them on Halloween either. Such a weird thing. It's always before.
Well, it is October. Yeah. Get in the mood for spooky stuff.
I suppose some countries have the full month as Halloween, don't they?
Yeah, some people would say, this is the 11th film in the Halloween franchise if you include Rob Zombie ones and stuff.
No one includes Rob Zombie ones.
I didn't like the first one. The second one was fucking terrible.
Oh God, so bad.
Yeah, the second one was bad.
But when you say this is a reboot and we're starting again and we're going to try and do something a little different, you expect that maybe they've got something and the writing's there and the direction's there, but it really isn't. So
I've always wanted to see, and I was reading, I think it was Francis Ford Coppola, he was talking about Halloween. on an interview. I think it were a book that on Audible, and he was saying like he'd love to do an Halloween film where the camera never stops following Michael Myers on his day-to-day business. Wouldn't that be fucking incredible? Not even as a comedy, just to see what he does. Because he must be waiting for hours sometimes. Just stood looking through a bush.
Well, yeah,
I just got visions of a cat coming out. giving the cat a little stroke.
Yeah, he probably stinks. He probably stinks.
Tripping over something.
You probably see him like eating junk food and that. Because he's a big guy. And Donald Pleasance were a big guy as well, who played him originally, wasn't he? He was a big fucking guy. And it's just, whoever plays him is always a big... So he's got to get that protein somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Where's he working out?
Ironing his overalls somewhere.
I want to see this Ford Coppola version of Halloween. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, the music's still brilliant, obviously, because it just takes John Carpenter's music and does that. So the music is brilliant, but everything else is, unfortunately, a bit shit.
It's a shame, but you've got to watch horror films in October. Yeah, it's got to be done, hasn't it? Right, let's move on to the main topic at hand. Biggie 2, what are we going to be doing this week?
All right, it's Biggie here. I'm back. I got back to the podcasting time. This week, we're going to be talking about one and done. When things are done, and to the point of done, and you love them.
Thank you very much, Biggie 2, for that. So to explain to people that have got brain cells, one and done this is probably one of the most subjective topics we've done in a while because it's our personal one and done, media that we've consumed once and done with it, basically. Let's mix stuff up. We're going to start with Candy. What is your one and done?
I had so many for this. I found it really, really difficult to choose, but I went with Requiem for a Dream. And now, like I said to you earlier in the Discord, the ironic thing about this is I did actually have to watch it again today.
So you broke your rule.
My memory.
Get out.
Well, it came out in 2001, I think it was. I haven't written it in my notes.
Really
I think so. Yeah.
And I think it was around that time that I watched it. So I'm like, I have to do it again. And I thoroughly stick by my decision. I should have just watched it once. So for those who haven't seen it, Requiem for a Dream, it's like I call it a psychological drama starring Ellen Burstyn, Jared Leto, Jennifer Connelly, and Marlon Wayans. Yes, sorry, Wayans. And it's based on a book in 1978 by Hubert Selby Jr.
That they said could never be adapted into a film.
No. Well, did you ever read the book?
Yes.
Anyone?
Yes.
It was that was difficult to read as well.
Yes,
but
it is.
For different reasons. Lack of grammar for one.
Yeah, it's a bad book.
Yeah.
It's a bad book.
So we'll focus on the film. So the film, it's a depiction of 4 characters who are differently affected by drug addiction, and just the toll it takes on their lives over the course of about 6 months. Now, the director was Darren Aronofsky, and you would have seen his other films, or you would have heard of his other films. So you've got Pi, The Fountain, The Wrestler, which was critically acclaimed,
Fucking
Black Swan as well, Noah, and Mother, which, yikes.
Yeah.
One of the better ones.
Yeah.
Mother's great.
No.
Yes, it is.
The Wrestler's better.
The Wrestler's
Wrestler is
Black Swan's better.
Black Swan's incredible.
Oh, Black Swan's, it's mesmerising.
Black Swan was actually on my shortlist as well, but I've managed to see that a couple of times. But anyway, that gives you a sort of idea of the tone the film takes. It's kind of visceral and gritty, and so it has almost an overpowering soundtrack, but it just kind of teeters on the edge of being effective. And the visuals don't shy away from like the grotesque, even though it's not. There's no gruesome bits, but it's just
there's a lot of bright light.
Yeah, it's just really gritty, and I think some of his films, they could be arguably pretentious.
Definitely.
But that's another topic for another day.
There we go. Get that the thing. Pretentious films.
Pretentious films.
Write that one down.
I'm doing it.
We will never run out of topics.
Never. Not on this show. But yeah, no. Before I talk about why it's a one and done for me, it's. So I'm going to have to talk about.
I know
why
this is going to be difficult.
When
you mentioned it earlier, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be tough."
It is, because it's such
watch.
a brilliant film. It's such a brilliant film. So, as I mentioned, it's probably most famous for its soundtrack by Clint Mansell. And even if you haven't seen the film, you probably have heard the soundtrack in one way or another, because it's used quite often.
Please insert this now, Gadget. You'll know it, the main theme.
Okay.
So yeah, that one you would have, I'm sure, heard it somewhere. It's always used in adverts and to illustrate a dramatic scene in anything, I think. But the acting in it is absolutely incredible. In particular, Ellen Burstyn's performance. So you might know her from The Exorcist. She played the mum.
Yep,
that's certainly what I recognised her from. So at the beginning of the film, her character gets a phone call informing her that she's been selected to go on this daytime TV show, one that she sits at home. She's a middle-aged woman. She sits at home watching TV all day, but she gets this phone call to say that she's going to star in this show. And that kind of prompts her to start taking diet pills and getting herself ready to be seen on TV. Now, the diet pills are essentially speed.
Yeah, she's on speed.
Yeah, pet pills, they describe it as speed. So her psychological well-being breaks down throughout the film, but there's this midpoint in the film, and it's when she's explaining to her son, who's played by Jared Leto, that why it's so important to her. She's saying, you know, she's an older lady. Her son's moved out. Her husband's obviously passed away, and being on TV is just the only thing that is giving her life any kind of meaning.
It's the only thing she's waking up for now on a morning and stuff. Yeah,
yeah. It's making all her friends talk to her. She gets the best seat. That they all sit out sunbathing. She gets the best seat sunbathing. But this monologue she has is just absolutely incredible. If you ever watch it, the acting in it is just it's just really brilliant and really, really moving. And that's a scene that didn't really hit with me. I think the first time I watched it, because being a lot younger then, I sort of, I mean, obviously I'm not at that age now, but I can see where she's coming from.
Yeah, some mornings it's hard to just get up, isn't it? And
you sometimes feel like you've got nothing to look forward to.
Yeah, so,
and,
so you make little steps in your mind on, I've got this coming up in 3 months, so...
Yeah, but it's such a moving scene, and that kind of spurs Jared Leto's character to take a bit of a downward spiral as well, because it kind of affects him. Jared Leto as well, with the exception of 1 and 2 films that we won't mention, but you know the ones, he's a consistently good actor. The way the film's shot as well, it makes you feel constant dread, and it actually makes you feel like you're losing the plot. That's certainly how I felt this afternoon watching it. Because it's... what I noticed today is, as the film goes on, it alternates between shots and scenes much more rapidly as the film goes on, so it makes your head feel like you're sort of constantly spinning.
Yeah.
It makes you feel dizzy yourself, and along with the soundtrack, which kind of goes out of time and out of tune. And
you tried to do that with the book, where chapter orders were wrong and people thought it were misprints and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it did, and it did that very well. And so yeah, the reason I did never want to see it again, it's just such a harrowing.
Yeah, it's tough,
watch.
Man. It's tough.
It's so bad, and at points the music's almost like just nails being scratched down a chalkboard. And some of the more intense scenes, I actually found myself kind of like self-soothing, like I was sat there hugging myself or like fiddling with my hair.
It's a very tough watch if you've ever been. If you're an addict or you've got an addictive personality or you've been in similar situations, even if it's like food and drink and drugs in general, it's very tough because you see bits, it's like, fuck, I would like that, or I could be like that.
Control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Debt,
that's another
for
thing
instance.
I was going to mention. It would be very triggering if you've ever had any kind of struggles with abuse, or like you said, it could be anything. You could be addicted to exercise. You know, you'll see the same spirals and everything. And
so real, so raw.
Yeah, some of the scenes actually, like the intensity of it, I actually felt physically sick. And again, like I said, there's no there's no gruesomeness.
No.
There's nothing too graphic in terms of violence. There are graphic scenes, but in a different way. And that's just going to lead me on to the final scene. Now, if you've seen the film, you'll know the scene I'm talking about. And it doesn't matter how long ago you would have seen it. That is something that will just never leave your mind. It's just one of the most disturbing scenes I've ever watched. And I would have been happy not to watch it again, really. But there's no redemption at the end. It's just, this shit is...
Yeah.
It's just awful. It's
final,
awful,
isn't it?
Yeah. And... such a good film, but so difficult to watch.
Yeah, I agree massively. It's. I've only ever seen it once. I've only ever read the book once. I think it slots perfectly in that little margin of. I think everyone has to see it, but I don't think you need to own it. It's such a weird thing. I think even if you're the most like. Sound of mind person your whole life, you know someone that's like this, and
yeah, absolutely,
it's fucking raw, man. Good pick. Whew. Oh, on to something a bit more lighter. Gadget.
Well, I don't want to say it's necessarily lighter, but maybe less depressing.
Yeah.
I want to talk about something that doesn't exist anymore. I want to talk about the video game demo teaser PT.
Oh, God, here we go. We're going down this road. Oh, God. Existentialism, everything. Oh, PT. That scarred me, that for life.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
absolutely
so jealous
terrifying.
I never got to play it.
No, don't be jealous.
Just be thankful.
So PT literally stands for Playable Teaser. This was released... randomly on the PlayStation 4 on the 12th of August 2014.
God, that long ago?
Mysterious...
Shit the bed.
2014, yes, 7 years ago. It was developed by a studio that didn't exist before and doesn't exist now, called 7780s Studio.
I know who it is.
And published by Konami. And the game is a first-person horror experience.
Yeah, it's not a game, is it?
It's akin to like a haunted house fairground ride kind of thing. You wake up in this concrete room. It's in first person. There's a table there. Nothing else but a door.
At that moment as well, it's photorealistic.
I mean, it's photorealistic, the whole thing. It's one of the best looking games ever released on the PlayStation 4. Yeah,
it's still, yeah.
Yeah. You walk out the door into a photorealistic, wonderfully rendered corridor of a house. You walk to the end of the corridor, you turn right, you get this little entranceway for the house, a little bit of detritus around, pictures on the wall, and some steps down into another door, which you walk through, and you're back at the start.
It's a loop.
And that is it's a loop. It's the entire play of the game. The thing is, when you start the second loop, freaky shit starts happening.
I'm getting flashbacks already. My hair's on the back of my neck is standing up. I have to keep looking around because I'm in a corner of a room now.
Yeah, you walk down this corridor and maybe the radio starts playing, and a voice talks over the radio about a family that was murdered by the patriarch of the family.
Yes.
You do another few loops. You start kind of like piecing together some pictures that you find. Like you find little scraps of paper on the floor that then combine to make a picture. And then when you complete that picture, the lights go out, but then they come back on again. You do another loop. You start hearing pained moans over the radio. Real, as if someone's been stabbed in the gut kind of moans. And then the bathroom door opens. The door that you haven't noticed all these times you walk through because it's on the side towards your right that you would never notice. And then you walk in the bathroom and the door shuts behind you. And in the sink, there is a half-formed fetus crying.
Really loudly as well.
Yeah.
Really obnoxiously loudly.
And through your pad if you've got it, because it used to be cry through my controller. Oh, God. Horrible.
You pick up a torch in there, and now you can see in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk out, you do another loop, you come back around that right corner, and there's a woman standing there.
Oh, God.
And then she disappears. And you do another loop. And the voice in the radio says, "Don't turn that dial, we'll be right back." And Lisa gets you. You just go for it. you go from nothing to this
turn around, don't you? And she's
bloody distorted face right in your face, and she kills you. And you wake back up in that concrete room again, and now there's a paper bag full of blood that talks to you.
Yep.
And yeah, that's PT.
It keeps going like that for a while.
Yeah, I'm not going to describe the whole game.
Wilder as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
the whole game is about 4 hours long, but like, I still get a little. I still feel my heart.
I can't think about it, mate.
About the Lisa attack.
It scares the fuck out of me. It's the scariest. It's the scariest interactive media I've ever played, ever. Yeah.
So
I would play it in VR.
Fuck off! No, you wouldn't.
I would.
It
would fucking scare the shit out of me.
It's supposed to, though.
Take 8 hours, not 4.
Did you ever see like when that first corridor you walk down, she's just there in the window, just being like, like her face is just shaking, and she's on the other side of the window, and you're like,
stop it now!
I don't want to go.
I keep going to look around.
Well, somebody hacked it, didn't they? And they managed to turn the camera around, and apparently she's following you the whole time
game,
without you sort of knowing.
Yeah. Basically, her character model is attached behind the camera all the way around. So PT is, I mean, it's well known at this point. PT was the playable teaser for Konami's reboot of Silent Hill.
Yeah, because when you got to the end, you got the teaser.
When you got to the end, your character is allowed out of the house, providing you solve some of the most obtuse puzzles in any game ever created.
That's ridiculous.
And you walk out to see Norman Reedus.
Sam Porter Bridges, you say?
Yeah. And you see directors Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima.
And I did a wee.
And then the title, Silent Hills. And I nearly shit myself.
Yeah. Big mega.
Did you have no idea up until that point?
Nobody did, because nobody. Nope. It took like a week for people to finish it.
Yeah.
And also people were actually really good about not spoiling it. Like
I found it on my own. It was incredible.
Yeah, everyone was, even online, was just saying, play PT. So,
in the dark, with your headphones on.
I didn't have an internet community then either, so I didn't have anyone to discuss it with. I was just on my own, and I was like, oh no! And then when I saw Norman Reedus, I'm like, Norman, Walking Dead guy? And then it's like, well, oh shit! It was such a big moment.
Yeah,
so... And I had nobody to share it with.
So yeah, 7780 Studio is what would become Kojima Productions. So as the story went, after finishing Metal Gear Solid 5, Kojima, well, the intention was after finishing Metal Gear Solid 5, Kojima was done with Metal Gear Solid. He wanted to do something different, and Konami obviously has just been sat around with its feet up on top of the Silent Hill IP for the past 15 years or so, and Kojima wanted to kind of pick it up and run with it, and
he was getting into horror.
He's always been into horror, but yeah.
From Metal Gear 4, there were like
moments of horror.
Horror. Metal Gear 5, there was actual Silent Hill radio broadcasts on the radios and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a fair bit of body horror in Metal Gear Solid 5 as well. So yeah, Kojima was kind of wanting to go down that route. And then Konami, well, they fucked everything up, didn't they? Because they sacked him. They cancelled Silent Hills. They kicked Guillermo del Toro out. And
Stole the Fox engine.
Stole the Fox engine. I mean, this was the first. I think this was the first proper game to come out on the Fox engine.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And it looked good. It's like you say, photorealistic. And when you're playing a game like that in 2014, like the PS4 had only been out a year when this came out. We were used to kind of like good HD textures, but we weren't used to like.
We were used to Rezo gun.
Yeah, we were used to bright, high resolution, high frame rate shit, but we weren't used to photorealism. So, yeah, so Kojima gets kicked out by Konami and then goes off to form Kojima Productions, which is there where we get Death Stranding, involving all the same people.
Yes. I reckon he probably used a lot of what he had going for Silent Hills in Death Stranding.
Probably. But PT is hands down the scariest thing I've ever played. I love horror games. Horror games are so much fun. But this is the first one where I've literally been scared to play it. Like where I've looked at the icon on the PlayStation 4 dashboard and kind of felt my heart rate climbing. Like most of the horror games, you're just like, okay, I'm going to go into a bit of Resident Evil here. It'll be a little bit scary. It'll be fun.
But I'll have a Magnum.
Yeah, you go to PT like, I don't want to. The thing is as well, I mean, I played through it once. It was like 3 sessions it took me. I played through it once completely, and I never touched it again.
Yeah.
You can't touch it now because Konami, being the series of bastards that they are, they just deleted it from the PlayStation Store and also stop people from re-downloading it. It doesn't exist anywhere anymore.
I still got it.
Yeah, if you want to play PT, you have to buy a PlayStation with it preloaded on.
I'm selling mine if anyone wants it. It's right there.
Yeah, it's but it was just this incredible cathartic experience. Like when the Lisa attack happened to me, I literally fell off the sofa. Like I jumped so high because because Kojima and Del Toro are masters of horror.
Oh god, yeah.
They know how to lead you in with sound, lead you in with the visuals, get you on the edge of your seat looking closely at the telly for the big bang to happen. And when the bang happens, it's such a huge energy rush. Like, I was sweating after it. It's unreal.
It inspired so much after it as well, like Resident Evil 7, for instance, and Outlast, and it inspired so much.
No, Outlast was out before this.
Was it? Oh.
Yeah, Outlast was 2013.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, but Resident Evil 7, definitely, though.
Yeah. If you go onto YouTube and search for the Silent Hills trailer, they released one trailer I think it was the Tokyo Game Show that year, before Konami shit-canned everything. And, like, the trailer is terrifying.
It is.
It's so many different kinds of weird, fucked up monsters. So much tension, this weird, creepy dialogue over the top. It's worth looking at. And then you need to get angry at Konami because we don't have this.
Bastards.
They don't like money.
No, they like pachinko. They like pachinko and only pachinko.
But, yeah, like, PT, I will quite happily never look at a picture of that again in my life. That scarred me.
Yeah, it's. I've only ever played it once. Again, you've both picked something I've only done once. So
excellent.
We're doing really well with this. Stig, don't let me down.
I think I've chosen something you've only watched once. So
go on.
I want to talk about the 2019 Robert Eggers film, The Lighthouse.
You've done it. We've got a hat trick.
So this film
stars
Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. It takes place in 1890s New England, where Ephraim Winslow, played by Robert Pattinson, serves a contract job as a wickie, which is a lighthouse keeper, on a small, isolated island off the coast under the supervision of the island's long-term keeper, Thomas Wake, played by Willem Dafoe. And after a while, things start to go a little wrong. The two have a little bit of a falling out one night, and soon paranoia, mistrust starts to seep in. Partly helped by the kerosene-based drink that they keep spilling.
That's most of it.
Yeah, not allowed alcohol on the island, so they make their own drink up, and this kind of messes with their heads a little, as you would expect.
It's like what they used to do
drinking fuel would.
In the 1800s and 1900s, you had like gin and kerosene together, didn't they? And they used to make some right fucking weird concoctions.
Yeah, these guys are certainly on the dragon soup.
On the hooch.
But this film is fucking incredible. It's an absolute tour de force of a film. Amazing performances, direction, cinematography, lighting, sound, pacing, framing. Like the list goes on.
Dialogue.
Everything about this film is just it's just excellent. Everything's on point. It's perfect filmmaking, and it should have been nominated and won more awards than it did. Yeah. The only thing that it got nominated for by the Academy Awards was for cinematography, which is
daft.
Fair point, because the cinematography by Jared Blaschke, yeah, is brilliant. The cinematography in this is
but that's not phenomenal. The only fucking thing.
No, like the shots of the storms, the lightning, like the rolling waves, like all those like external shots of the island and the lighthouse. It looks incredible. It's in black and white, so if you're not seeing it,
that doesn't matter though at all.
It doesn't matter at all. But like, obviously, adds to the way it looks and the way it feels and stuff.
It's high contrast black and white as well, isn't it?
Super.
Not just...
Yeah. The shots of like the lightning cracking across the sky in black and white.
It's well shaded and stuff, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. But the film is absolutely bonkers.
Oh God, it is.
But in a good way. So it's this weird but mesmerizing movie. Just mixes all these genres and tones together. So it kind of blends horror, thriller,
it's
fantasy,
got a lot of Lovecraftian
drama
in there, hasn't it?
Yeah, and even comedy as well. Like it's a comedy in there as well. But none of it ever trips the other genre up at all. They all blend together really well. Like it just all really works together like so well. And it succeeds where a lot of other films trying to do that fail for me. Like I often find that a lot of films these days especially they go weird for weird's sake. To try and be a bit more like, oh, our film's really weird. It's really meaningful and deep.
You can see when some films do it because sometimes aspect ratio changes or some ramps up. You're like, oh, this is director being a director moment. You can see it.
Yeah,
on some of them.
Like there's a film called In Fabric that I watched that came out around the same time that kind of tries to do all that trippy, weird stuff, and it's just a perfect example of it just not working for me. It just ended up being emotionless and boring, whereas this is far from that. So yeah, like this just holds up on its weirdness and then some.
Oh god, it's for those two actors, they are roles of a lifetime without being silly.
Oh yeah, incredible.
You can't tell it's them. You don't think it's that sparkly guy from Twilight. You don't think it's Green Goblin.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. You know, when it was announced that Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, they're like, oh, the Twilight guy, the sparkly... And people are like, no, watch The Lighthouse and see what he's actually capable of.
Watch Good Time. Watch The Lighthouse. Watch these films where he actually shows how much of a really good actor he is.
He's sensational.
Yeah, he got really overlooked for this as well. So did Willem Dafoe. Like this,
Dafoe's so good.
Yeah,
he looks like he smells.
Oh, he does.
He looks like he stinks, and he's a smelly bastard. He's a dirty bastard.
Yeah, they certainly do, don't they?
Oh, God.
But I was reading up, so Eggers was inspired by sailor myths and classic mythology, such as the myths of like Prometheus. Wake is modelled on Proteus, who's a prophecy-telling ocean god who serves Poseidon. And it pulls a lot from Greek mythology and also other imagery. So if you look at Hypnosis by Sasha Schneider.
Yep.
So I didn't know about this. I was just obviously doing my research and that. If you look up that you look at that picture and you've seen the film, you can see where that imagery comes from and how he's used that in the film.
It's got a lot of Shakespeare tragedy tells to it as well. You got Tempest in there as well, things like that. Which again is quite ocean based and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's full of metaphors and things and stuff, and weird and wonderful creatures like tentacle monsters and mermaids and shit. That kind of stuff kind of
really going to have to see this film.
Oh,
it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Yep. Excellent.
So good. Now you've talked about it, it's not going to be a one and done anymore for me because I have to watch it again.
Yeah, the level of authorship he's imparted onto this film is amazing, and he's crafted like a super tight masterclass in like every facet of filmmaking possible. Like, there's nothing in this film that's wrong.
No,
do you know what I mean?
I agree with you.
It's so good. Like it's like I wrote here what I was trying to put down into what I thought. It's like a swirling maelstrom of horrific rage, loneliness, repulsion, Greek tragedy. It's unrelenting and all-consuming, and it's covered in a big old load of jism.
Oh, God, yeah.
Well, I'm sold.
I mean, people forget...
You have to see the film to get that, but...
yeah, you do. People forget about the third character in the film, the actual lighthouse itself. That is... do you know what I mean?
The lighthouse is very much kind of a living being, isn't it? Like, within the film, and the seagulls.
Yeah.
The seagulls.
Oh god, it's such a
don't upset a seagull. Basically, no. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, it's such a sensational. It reminds me of like, it reminds me if you ever go to like working men's clubs and stuff, and you talk to oldest person there, they'll tell you a story like this, how they were out to sea or they were. Do you know what I mean? There were loneliness and isolation, but even two people can be lonely together. Do you know what I mean? It's so
some incredible accent work going on as well.
Oh god, yeah.
Why'd you spill your beans?
Yeah, it's super good.
Even if you have no intention of watching the film, just watch the trailer. The trailer is enough to show you how weird this film is. But yeah, good. The reason I kind of don't think I want to watch it again is because it's so tense, and I kind of want to preserve that feeling of that.
Do you know what it reminds me of, mate, and why I probably say I want to see it again? I probably won't. It reminds me of going to see a really good, exceptional play somewhere.
Yeah,
it's not like you go again, is it? You don't go on the next night to the same play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. But yeah, it's because of not knowing what happens. Obviously, the first time you watch it, going back and knowing what happens probably would just take away a lot of the tension and a lot of the, I don't know, like the I don't know really. I feel like it would just take away from something. I don't want to kind of.
You just need that mystery.
I can imagine.
Yeah, the mystery is a good word. Sorry, I was trying to.
It probably has a lot less
words.
gravitas about it the second time as well, because you see what's coming, you know what's coming, and then you also. I don't know about you, Sid, but when I watched, I'm like, I was just so tense, waiting for something big to happen.
Yeah,
waiting
for that boiling point, aren't you, between the two? And maybe I just don't want to sit there for the runtime and be like looking for other things.
Yes.
I mean, some people enjoy doing that, but I don't want to be taking out the story and the tension and everything by looking around and seeing other things and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I don't think I'll watch it again.
It's perfect in your mind, I think. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Good pick. Ooh, 3 good picks. I'm going to ruin it with mine. So I want to talk about Fumito Ueda. Does anyone know who he is?
Oh, the name rings a bell.
Nope.
He's a game auteur, developer, designer. His first game was Enemy Zero, which released in 1996 for the Sega Saturn, which is a ropey horror adventure game. No one remembers it. His second game, however, people remember it. It's called Ico, or Eco.
Oh, yes. That's where I remember him from.
There he goes. I want to talk about all these games after Enemy Zero, not including Enemy Zero. So
yeah, no one talks about Enemy Zero.
No, Eco's an experimental game. It's built around a young jailed princess called Yorda. No, I think she's got. One of them's called Eco, one of them's called Yorda. I can't remember which one.
The little boy is called Eco.
Yeah. You're Eco, a little horned boy. I've only played it once. This is why I can't remember much. A little horned boy, and he's got a stick. He's got a bloody stick, 2 before. And basically, it's one of the tropiest things ever that people hate. It's a escort mission game. But it's done incredibly. You've got to get Yorda, the princess, out of the castle. The opposite of Super Mario, where you're trying to get to the castle. This is you getting out of the castle with the princess. They can't speak to each other because they both speak a different language. Originally released on the PS2, I think only released on the PS2.
It was remastered for PS3 as well.
There you go. I think it's more or less the same game, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a puzzling action adventure game where shadows chase you. Your main goal is to not... Because I don't think Eco can die. I think
Eco can die.
Only like falling off a building or something.
No, he can die in combat.
Oh, right. I can't remember having a health bar or anything like that. Maybe
Well, you don't have a health bar, but the game tracks it. Yeah,
your main thing is to keep her alive, isn't it?
Yeah, as you go through the game, like these shadow creatures will constantly try to kidnap her and take her back to her cell.
I'm glad you remember more than me.
Because it's a fucking brilliant game.
Yeah, I've only played it once. And the next one he created, Eco is known as the minimalist masterpiece. That's what it's known as. It came out quite early on PS2, didn't it? Around the time Bouncer came out and things like that.
Yeah, it was like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
It's a marvelous puzzle game.
Yeah.
I remember liking
with
the
kind
Bouncer.
of a beautiful aesthetic. Yeah, it's a massive escort mission, but like
it's done isn't it? I can't remember being frustrated by Yorda at all.
No, the only times where the escort mission bit of it gets annoying is during combat sequences.
Yeah.
And you'll get 7 or 8 of these ghost creatures. You have to kind of manage it. And sometimes you just let her get taken for a little while you clean out the enemies and deal with the last one. You know,
I was watching a video of it today, just to get my head around it, and it doesn't look as good as I remember in my head, but that's not. It's still quite nice and stylized. I found out if you play it again, you get to have a lightsaber. I didn't know that. I would have played it again.
I mean, you've got to beat some clear conditions as well.
Right,
it's not just you get it for beating the game. You have to. I can't remember what you have to do. I think you have to do it in a certain time or with a certain amount of saves or something like that.
The next game Ueda made is, in my opinion, is magnum opus, Shadow of the Colossus.
So good.
I played that game once, and
why? It's incredible.
The experience I had was so mesmerizing. If you don't know what Shadow of the Colossus is, it's basically a boss rush game where there's no rushing.
I was going to say there's not much to rush around the world.
I don't know the character's name. I think it's called Wander. There you go. I know it was something to do with what you're actually doing. You are wandering around. Wander. You're basically in this. You've been tasked. Well, not even tasked. You've got your love. She's dead by all accounts, and you're taken into a forbidden land. So it's a plateau, and when I say a big plateau, that's not even doing it justice. It's almost a country, isn't it, Gadget?
Yeah, it's vast. it takes ages to ride from one side of it to the other.
Think. If you remember Hyrule Field being big, don't be stupid. This is just a vast plateau, and you've got to take your beloved, because you've heard of rumours that if you go to this forbidden land that your tribes forbode, that you can bring her back to life, essentially. I believe this is all from memory as well, Gadget, because like I say, I've played it once. Yep. And to do that, I don't think he knows what he's actually supposed to do until it happens. Because the spirit that he talks to in the temple says the power lies within that land to resurrect his love. Yes.
And to do that, he has to slay these 16 colossi.
Colossi, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
The plural of colossus.
And that will give the spirit tells him that will give the spirit enough power to resurrect.
And that's about it, though, isn't it? That's all it tells. It's like quite cryptic, isn't it? And then you've got to hold your sword aloft, and wherever the light touches is where you've got to go next. Now, there's no enemies on the way to these bosses, is there?
Nope. It's just the bosses.
There's some little lizards that you can attack. I remember that, and eat the tails or something like that.
Yeah, that's how you get your health back.
Yeah, and you go to the first one's quite close by, isn't it? You go on your horse, Aggro, I think it's called. Aggro, something like that. He shouts it anyway, doesn't he, all the way through it?
Yeah.
And you climb a cliff, and then you see this fucking massive giant.
Someone would almost say it's colossal.
Yeah, it is colossal. It's massive. It's got a big... I don't know if the other two... Candy and Stig, have you played this?
Not played any of them.
I haven't played Shadows of the Colossus. I played Eco for a minute. I found it a bit difficult with the escorting. It wasn't for me.
With this, it's more a challenge of monitoring your stamina bar, isn't it, Gadget? Where you can't kill a giant when you're a 6-foot person. You've got to climb the bastard and the furry. They're all furry bastards as well. So you can climb up it, and I think you've got to hold your sword up to find the weak spot or something like that.
No, each Colossus has like glyphs on them, which are their weak spots, and you have to basically do charged stabs.
Yes.
So you have to like hold your sword up, get a bit of power behind it, and stab into
You're
them.
basically like a mosquito on the back. That's how small you are. But eventually, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, it's just a really intricate puzzle game. To be fair. You have to just work out how to climb each Colossus and work out where the weak points are.
It's a platform puzzle game type thing. And eventually you do fell your first Colossus, or Colossi, and you feel really bad for doing it. Because then you realise that you've just killed an animal. It's just an animal. It wasn't doing anything until you turned up. And
that feeling continues throughout the whole game.
13 times, and they're all
16 times.
16, fucking hell.
16 of them.
And you do, they're all varying, they all look so different. Some of them are not even big. Some of them are like rhinos. I know I said not big, but not colossal. And some of them are bigger than you could even possibly imagine. Some of them, you take flight on them while you're clinging on with your little stamina bar that you've got on your sword. And I think you only get a sword and a bow throughout the whole game.
Yeah, and you don't get any kind of health upgrades or stamina upgrades. You are just as you are from the start.
Odd. But it's the most, I don't know. It's such a lonely experience. There's a dedicated button to shout your horse.
Yeah.
And your horse is way too big for you.
Yeah, let's not also forget how the game actually ends.
Yeah, mate, this is the thing. This is why I don't know if I can spoil it. Maybe I can.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll put the spoiler clacks in here.
Yeah.
If you haven't played this game from 2003 or the remake from 2016,
but it's important to discuss, isn't it?
Yeah. When you reach the end of Shadow of the Colossus,
after you've killed this big fucking towering behemoth thing,
the spirit is true to his word and resurrects your love at the expense of you.
Yeah. Turns you into one.
Yeah. And because you've killed the 16 colossi, the Forbidden Land starts to die.
Yeah, and you've freed the demon or something, haven't you?
Yeah, you freed the demon, and the bridge that led you to this temple starts to collapse.
Yeah.
And you die.
Yeah.
And then in the post-credit scene, you wake up as the baby version of the kid from Eco.
It's a
with the
prequel.
horns and everything.
It's a prequel.
But it is the most depressing game I've played.
Because it's such a sad ending.
It's such a futile ending as well. Like Wanda goes there because he wants to resurrect his love, not caring about the fact that he's destroying part of this world.
The amazing thing about it is, and I didn't notice until closer to the end, he's physically degrading, isn't he? Wanda, he's getting corrupted. Like his veins are coming up his neck and stuff. And because you're just used to seeing the back of him for ages, and I once caught a glimpse of him. I'm like, holy shit. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those moments. I just thought, he's getting corrupted and his eyes are getting whiter, aren't they? Like zombies. And it's such... Go on, sorry.
Do you know what's funny is the fact he's called Wanda, right?
Yeah.
There's parallels there with WandaVision.
There isn't there, mate? There is. Yeah, there actually is. It's such a spellbinding experience that, like, I never went back. And I know there's a remake, and I know apparently it's stunning.
Oh, it's superb.
Yeah.
One of the best ones. It's like Blue Point at their absolute best.
Yeah, and I do love a bit of Blue Point. And I need to...
Does it count if it's a remake, though?
I don't...
It might be a loophole.
Separate game, separate trophies. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, also, the reason why it's worth playing the remake is they fixed the controls.
Yeah, because it was a bit hard, wasn't it?
Yes, and it also runs at a decent frame rate.
Yeah, because on some moments, you're actually trying to convince let's say a Colossi or Colossus, I don't know which way to put it, you got to convince them to like knock scenery over and stuff like that, and it just makes the frame rate just take a nosedive.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know, it's so good, and like there's not much like to the controls. Like one button is to shout your horse, but also because she's shouting, you can shout at the Colossi, can't you? Yep. And it's like, come and look at me, I'm a little fucking thing. Oh god, it's so big, and some of them are just unearthly big, and you just think, how am I going to ever climb up that? But there's a lot of environmental storytelling to it. Like, I don't know if there's any secrets to the world, because I didn't really explore that much. I just did the main I don't know if there's much other than the actual monsters that you kill.
Not a lot. I think there's a few things to collect. I know the remake Blue Point put a couple of little collectibles in there to find.
Yeah, for trophies mainly, I bet.
Yeah,
but it's also a stunning world. It was then anyway, on the PS2, and it came in a beautiful cardboard sleeved box, which I always remember. It's really,
always appreciate
big map, big old map, for free as a standard edition. Remember those days when you used to get a map in standard edition?
Yeah.
And it was just a stunning game. I might return to the remake. But then Ueda did a controversial follow-up called The Last Guardian, which was in development hell for fucking decades.
I was going to say by saying then he did this next one. No, it took a very long time for it to come out.
Yeah,
it crossed 2 fucking generations. It was supposed to be an early PS3
it was,
game.
Yeah, he put it down to something to do with the AI for the because basically The Last Guardian is you're a kid and you've got a big griffin, dog, monkey, dragon thing as a pet.
Catweagle.
Yeah, and it's massive. It's quite big. And apparently it's got its own strange AI system to it. And the reason I only played this one once is because I didn't like it.
So I played through all of The Last Guardian and finished it.
Yeah, I did.
And it's a solid 7 out of 10 game. It's not good like Ueda's last couple of games. No. It's worth getting to the end. Like, I really like the end.
They only made me cry. Again, every game he's made has made me cry.
But the problem was the AI on Trico was
that's his name.
Yeah, it was too weighted in being an animal. So like the whole thing was like all the advertising was like, you need to convince this creature to trust you to do the thing that you needed to do. Yeah, you feed it like barrels, don't you, and stuff. Yeah. But they kind of not balanced it properly because what they'd done is they'd made something that acts a lot like a cat. Yeah. And it really does act a lot like a cat. It needs to be
more like a dog.
But it's not fun to play that game. It needs to be a little more dog than cat.
So when you're going like, come over here, it just like turns its back on you and shows you its arsehole.
Literally, yeah.
There was one puzzle near the end where we'd bonded so much, we'd even fought a different Trico. You know what I mean? We'd won, we'd bested. And all it had to do, all Trico had to do, was pull this big cord with its mouth and unleash, open a gate for me. Would he do it? Would he fuck? I'm like, come on now. And he was getting pissed off, and then he laying down and he would using his paw to back me away from him so I couldn't cuddle him and stuff. Will you fuck off? I'm getting so annoyed with him. And he wanted a barrel, he wanted feeding, but I couldn't find a barrel anywhere.
There was no clear way to give him orders.
No.
Like, even if he was going to be like a little bit like haughty and just like not listen to what you say, there was nothing for you to like point at this rope and go,
yeah, you couldn't override it, could you? It was literally true to form. He created an AI that was frustrating. But the actual game world, because he
created a cat.
All these 3 games are in the same universe. It's the same tribe that's affected by it. It's beautiful. It's proper beautiful. And Trico's cute as a button. Cute as a button. Lovely. And that evil Trico's not. Nasty.
No, bad boy.
Nasty one. But yeah, the ending is quite strong, actually. It is worth going through it.
It's a shame the gameplay is so frustrating to get
I'd like to see him remake that one.
I need to go back to it.
I'd like to see him remake that one and like do something with the AI. Maybe a mode where you can just make it go, this, do that.
Well, that's it. All you'd have to do is like just tweak the AI slightly so it's a bit more player friendly.
Yeah.
And it'd be great.
More dog, like you said.
Like it doesn't need to be remade. It doesn't need to be reconstructed or rebuilt in any way. It just needs just a little tweak.
But yeah, I just think it's fast. I don't know about any of you, but Ueda's games, I've only played them all once because I think they are storybooks. They are fables. They are one and done. They literally, I never seem to want to go back because what happened to me, there's no multiple endings. There's nothing like that. There's no collectible. Well, there is collectibles, but they don't do anything. Apparently, there's like speedrunning modes on Shadow of the Colossus, but I'm not bothered about that. I don't need arcade in that.
I've played through Eco twice. So I played it on the PS2 and then the PS3 remaster. And then I played Shadow of the Colossus 3 times because, again, there's basically each version of it I've played through.
Yeah, so I suppose you've only played it once if you're different versions still, though, aren't there? You've just wanted to see if there are any differences.
Yeah, but there's nothing stopping me from playing it again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say I've only played this once. I'm not going back to it. Like, no, I'd quite happily play it.
I'd probably play I probably would play the remake of Shadow of the Colossus, but it is worth it. It's really, really good. I couldn't play Last Guardian again unless I was confirmed that Trico was fixed. He's a little bastard, cute but a little bastard.
Little,
well, yeah, it's massive. But yeah, it's a love that I think what Ueda does do more than a lot of other game directors and designers and stuff. He doesn't need dialogue in his games, does he? No, I mean, Shadow of the Colossus has, I think, about 15 lines of dialogue in total. And none of it's in Japanese, none of it's in English. It's its own made-up language. It's all made-up language. No translation whatsoever. I do
enjoy games that transcend language, like like those ones in Journey as well. You don't need to hear any words to know what they're saying. Yeah, Eco. I don't think Eco has any direct dialogue. Actually, it's just
it's just going. It just does that, doesn't it? When he shouts.
Yeah, you have the little vocal box between the two characters, but nothing's translated. Like you don't get dialogue. And Last Guardian has a little bit.
There is talking in that, because there's a narration at the beginning, isn't there? And at the end, but that's in a different language as well. It's not in a real language. Oh, it's just I like though. I want to see Ueda next take on that world because he hasn't even given the world a name, has he? It's just the world.
Nope.
And I'd like to see what because he always takes ages to make. So I don't know if he's even actively working anymore. Like, no, he might be retired from life. For all I know, I have no idea. But I just remember those 3 games especially were just special one and dones, and I'm proud to say I've played them. And if I'm being realistic, probably never again. But that doesn't...
Well, for what it's worth, I think you've convinced me to play Shadow of the Colossus, so it will live on.
I think you should. I think it's...
Ueda is working on something at the moment.
What is it?
He hasn't said. He released a teaser at the beginning of this year, and that was it.
I wonder if it's in the...
15 years.
Yeah, I wonder if it's in the same universe. I'd love the world that he's created. It's such a beautiful... It's almost like... It's like South America. It's like Peru, or like some of these countries that have got so much different climates in the same place. Like let's say New Zealand or something like that, where it changes rapidly where you are. Oh, it's so hard to explain the world, like plateaus and steppes and stuff like that. Like Mongolia or something.
it looks like from like just reading the press release there, it looks like they were gearing up for like a big announcement this year. Because they released an image which basically had 2020 the numbers 2021, and then like within the font they had like a black and white screenshot of the 3 games, and then in the one at the end there was this new one in color, and it's a lad with a cloak standing by a rock looking out over the sea, and that's it.
It's going to be the same world then, isn't it? It has to be.
Yeah, it's got the same that same visual style.
I'm down for it. I'm down for it. I'll play all his games once, but I think most of the games that he's done are on these because they're all PlayStation exclusives. I think they're all on these services that they've got, so you don't really have to pay.
I think, it's on PlayStation.
Yeah, you don't really have to pay them for them. You just get a free trial and blast them out in a week. But yeah, really good. I love Ueda, and I wish him the best success in the next 17 years for making the next game that he makes. Who's next? Have I missed someone?
Nope.
Is that everybody?
The traitor that's not here.
Because there's no Biggie. Oh, what a shame. So, let's see what our dedicated listeners have been one and done in. There's not really a word for one and done in, is there?
So our less committed host has sent us in his options.
Well.
So Biggie has said, The Last of Us games. Currently playing part 2. They're both incredible. Visually, sound design, gripping narrative. I don't think I would go back through either again. An intense experience.
I'm currently going through 2 again, and I've played 1 about 4 times.
Yeah, I've played 1 like 3 times.
I needed that one once, actually.
Robotic Monkey has said The Walking Dead Season 1. I loved it. I enjoyed playing it. I got invested in the characters. I got very angry at the end, followed by getting very sad. But because of the ending, I never want to go back and play it again.
I still haven't finished Season 1 yet.
I've lived out my story of Lee and Clem. I don't want to edit it with a second playthrough.
Yeah, very similar with all those kind of games where you make a choice.
Yeah, you're happy with your choice, aren't you?
That's your first choice. Like, I have no intention or want to go back through it and go, oh, what would happen if I chose this? And what would happen if I chose that?
That's your canon, isn't it?
I'll stick with my first choice, and that's how I'd go. So,
yeah,
I agree, mate.
X-Ben Blaster X misunderstood the brief because he said Rise of Skywalker, the first 2 sequel films to Star Wars, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, had good or plenty of fan service, and The Last Jedi left the universe in an interesting place. But Rise of Skywalker shat all over it. So bad. Worse than Attack of the Clones, something I hope to never see again. Which point Stig quite adequately corrected him, saying, no, this is shit we like.
Yeah.
So he came back and pointed out, Dear Esther is a game I really enjoyed. I had a memorable experience playing through it, and to me, that's the way the game was supposed to be. No doubt I could go back to it and dig deeper to discover more, but I was happy to put a full stop on it. I
like Dear Esther as well. It was good prose. It's barely a game, but it's really nice prose to it. Yeah. Really good.
Super Natty Cat has come in with one that makes me cry thinking about it. She says Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh, God, yeah. That's in my short list.
Oh.
The saddest film I've ever seen, real or animated. Following a strike from US forces in 1945, a young boy and his younger sister are separated from their parents. They struggle to stay alive whilst trying to adhere to their good morals and keep their dignity. As their struggle for food, good health and good spirits continues, their lives are completely battered with small wins but big losses. And when you think help is coming or the pair have turned a corner, something awful will happen, and you just know that is going to happen. There is a particularly awful moment where the youngest sibling, Setsuko, releases some fireflies into the cave they are hiding in for some light. She wakes the next day to find the fireflies dead. The little bugger buries them in a little grave and asks why people have to die. It's disgustingly sad, brutal, and without giving the ending away, beautiful and incredibly moving. I love Studio Ghibli films, but I didn't expect this one to be like this. It kicks any Disney film in the emotional nuts, and I will never watch it again, but regard it as an all-time favourite.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It makes Bambi look happy.
See,
it's just sad the whole way through as well. It's not like there's a sad moment. The whole thing. Yeah, it starts off bad and gets worse.
See, I know I will watch this again because I want my kids to watch it.
Yeah.
When they're older. So I know it sounds pretty bad, like say, watch this film, but it's like I want them to watch this incredible piece of art.
There's not enough Roblox on it for my kids.
Comfort you through it.
You what? Sorry, Gadget?
And comfort you through it.
Oh, yeah.
That
Hold me, kids. Hold
It's
me.
advertised as a kids' film, though. all the Ghibli films are advertised as kid films, and it's not like
They're not.
I wouldn't want to show a 4 or 5 year old.
No, this is a 12. It's certificated as a 12, so it's at least know that it's meant for teenagers age and above, really.
Yeah. Agreed, mate. Agreed.
Rob Frodsham has said Requiem for a Dream and Irreversible are the two that spring to mind for me. Both very good, but very heavy going. Biggie recently mentioned The Night Manager also. That was so good, and I want to revisit it, but it was just too tense. Not sure if I can.
I've never seen that, but someone mentioned that to me the other day, didn't they? It must have been Biggie.
Yeah, Biggie, yeah. Like, it is one that gets mentioned that's really good. It's when people bring that up when they say that Hiddleston should be Bond.
I heard someone say it's BBC though, so can't.
Lee Davies has said Gone Home is a fantastic game, but I will never go back to it. Not knowing what the game was about going into it made it really tense. The atmosphere at the beginning is really great, and the feeling of mystery really drove me forwards. I wouldn't have that on a second playthrough.
No comment.
Yeah, fair enough.
You don't like it, do you?
Nah, I fucking hated Gone Home. I think it's obtuse for no reason, and it's up his own ass.
Fair enough.
I'm in the minority.
John Cheetham. Oh, okay. John Cheetham has said, my contribution is I Saw the Devil.
Ooh.
This is a renowned South Korean thriller movie that is famous for its violence, gore, and premise. That being, a detective's pregnant wife is murdered by a serial killer, and then he sets out to make that killer's life a living hell, capturing, torturing, or maiming, and then releasing him repeatedly in a game of cat and mouse. Jesus fucking...
One for the kids, then, yeah?
John?
One for the kids.
It's in my watch list.
I wanted to see it as everyone rates it, and the cast is very solid. With Lee Byung-hun as the detective and old boy himself, Chow Min-sik, doing what he does so well and playing an irredeemable, vile lunatic as the killer. It's in the canon of the Korean revenge movies, a crowded but always worthwhile subgenre. The Koreans do like their revenge movies.
They do, don't they? They are big on it.
It was a gripping watch for the most part. I won't be going back to it, however, as by the end, the nature and intensity of the violence being presented on screen was just too much for me and actually made me quite depressed. I have absolutely no sympathy for the character being portrayed here by Choi Min-sik, but the imagery alone became too much, especially in the context of what the detective character loses in his quest for vengeance. Well made and unforgettable, definitely, singular for sure, would not go back to this.
I love that he's made you try and pronounce those names as well.
And he
does it deliberately. He knows what he's doing. He's too cultured for us. Ray's come in saying, the movie I Care a Lot arguably has all a great thriller should offer. Gripping pace, non-stop plot twists, highly talented acting cast, and a sprinkle of social commentary for some pondering afterwards. Although I have tons of good things to say about the film, I'm afraid to revisit it in the future. It's because the struggle against the quote-unquote villain of this movie, the corrupt and abusive care homes, fill me with desperation and dread. The authority and public put such a blind trust in the so-called professionals, they turn a deaf ear to the suffering seniors while handing those caretakers a free pass for practices which would make Nurse Ratched unsettled. In fact, the union of the legal system and the caretaking industry becomes so powerful, not just frail old people, but also vicious mafia become helpless in front of their smiling faces. I told myself it's just a fictional story, then I suddenly feel the urge to call my parents and make sure they're well and healthy. After all, they're getting old, and I'm not the boss of a crime organisation.
It's a good film. It's a very good film.
Yeah,
I was going to say, you talked it up a lot, Stig, didn't you?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... she's just a dick.
Yeah, proper
horrible woman.
Nimrod Hicks has come in with Dear Majestic Entertainers.
I like
a nice one.
That's better.
A nice intro for once.
More of that, please.
Yep.
Yeah, he's talking us up. In fact, great show last week. Hearing a well-informed, interesting, intelligent, and highly charismatic female voice on the show was fantastic. So congratulations to Candy for that.
I knew that were coming.
And that Helen character wasn't half bad either.
Yeah, he's such a sneaky.
But shit jokes aside, hearing Helen's insights, eloquence, and deep knowledge on her subject was fantastic. A class act. Top-notch guesting on her part, and I listened to you lot trying to be on your best behaviour without sounding overly sycophantic was a joy. Great job all round.
Until the patron segment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you lasted like 30 seconds before you started
Dicks
go
out.
back to goblin ways.
Last week, can we just touch on last week quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
sure.
was great. I really loved it, and we had so much good feedback from it as well, so I'm happy that people really liked that one, because it was a bit more, serious in terms of some of the stuff we talked about as well. So I'm glad that people actually enjoyed that as well. And Helen was brilliant.
Oh God, she's such a laugh as well, isn't she? She's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so chill. She was so easy to talk to. She's really inspiring as well. Like, what an impressive lady she is.
Even in the green room, she was funny, wasn't she? You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She got well involved.
Yeah.
So, Hicks's one and done. He says, for my one and done, my vote goes to the controversial 2002 movie Irreversible, directed by Gaspar Noé and starring Monica Bellucci and Vincent Cassel. Castle? I don't know.
Castle.
This movie follows the events of a traumatic night out in Paris, which is like every night out I've ever had in Paris. Which he says, never having been to Paris, just making a joke. This movie follows the events of a traumatic night out in Paris, which plays out in brutal and dizzying fashion. This movie stayed with me for a very long time and in many ways is a masterpiece. However, I must put in a warning this is a very difficult movie and should be approached with caution due to its graphic and shocking violence, including scenes of a sexual nature. It's really a gut-wrench of a movie that leaves its mark, a superb watch, but would I ever want to see it again? No, and thrice no.
I've seen it once, yeah. I agree with everything he said. It's one of those, it's not a date movie.
Isn't that Gaspar Noé's like kind of thing though, isn't it? He makes these very tough, hard to watch films.
Yeah, it's one of those that, you know, if you've got like a filmy mate, like I could say to you, Stig, definitely watch it, but I can't say to like someone down the pub, we should watch this. You'll love it. Yeah. You really like X-Men, you'd love this. Do you know what I mean? It don't work. You've got to be.
I don't think I've ever seen one of his films.
You've got to be into it. You've got to be prepared for it. It's I
just know he's very makes very tough films.
Yeah, it's a deliberate thing. Trust me.
Mm.
Okay, last up we have Best Boy Kurt Lewin. 2 submissions from me this week. Whoa,
calm down, Kurt. Bloody hell.
The first is Requiem for a Dream. As we heard from before, I think this film is utterly fantastic, but to me it was the bleakest film I've ever seen to the point it was almost laughable. I felt so sorry for all the characters in that, and in the end it makes me just sad thinking about that film and people in real life who might be going through similar experiences. So despite how excellent the film is, I never want to watch it again. In gaming, I like to think I might go back to play my favourite games again one day, but that's not the case with Hotline Miami. I adore this game and everything about it, but it's so hard. I got the platinum in it, and the thought of trying to go back and nail every mission again makes me feel ill. So now I just like to listen to the soundtrack and reminisce about the great time I had playing it when I was chasing all the A+ ranks.
Yeah, I like
that.
I liked Hotline Miami. I didn't platinum in it. I didn't get all the A ranks and stuff like that. Didn't really like the sequel.
I don't think anybody liked the sequel.
Many people did, no. Oh. A stupid one where you had to like control 2 people at the same time.
Yeah, fuck that. No. Yeah. The first one was good. I like the kind of narrative to it, the weirdness of it. It came out right at a weird time, did Hotline Miami. I was like, it felt so like new. But
there wasn't much out like that.
No.
Like, you know, there was when it came out, there was a lot of stuff which had kind of pixel art coming out from the indie scene.
Well, it had the graphics of like the original GTA, didn't it? That weird top-down.
But it was. I think it was one of the first to really have that kind of that vaporwave aesthetic and the kind of synthwave soundtrack and the gleeful psychotic violence.
Weird masks you could put on and stuff. It's just. Yeah, it's just.
I mean, all the cutscenes are really trippy. It's like you're on acid when you're playing the game.
So I remember someone telling me that, is it My Friend Pedro? Something like that. That's the spiritual successor. It's not.
It's not.
It's fucking.
It's nowhere near that. Yeah. I was like, that's fucking.
It's not a bad game, but it's not the quality of Hotline Miami.
I played that and I was like, fucking, this is not Hotline Miami. This.
No, not at all. You see,
I think it's a bit of a. Sorry, Karen.
Oh, you go.
I think it's just a bit of a different kettle of fish, isn't it, when you're replaying a game? Because if you're on the fence about rewatching a film, it's only 2-3 hours. When you think, I really want to play another game, play this game again, but it's such a commitment.
Yeah,
to find
Hotline
10,
Miami wasn't a quick one,
hours.
and it took a while. Yeah. That's not a quick game.
If you want a game like Hotline Miami, there's one called Hong Kong Massacre on Steam, and it's got a little bit of that kind of that hyper violence, but it's put it in more in very much like a hard boiled kind of John Woo style kind of thing with lots of nice slow mo and killing of people. So yeah, that one's worth a look if you want to have that kind of Hotline Miami experience.
Play Stranglehold.
See, what I was going to say was Candy's already said Requiem for a Dream. We've had 2 people email and say Requiem for a Dream. this is why I've never watched it, because I've never felt like I want to just sit there and
because not one person's ever recommended it. Everyone says,
oh, it's an amazing film, but it's like, yeah, it's so tough. I'm just like, when do I want to sit and do that?
Well, so people say, oh, you have to be in the right mood for it. Like, what is the right mood?
I'll tell you what, Stig. We'll meet up. I'll bring some MDMA. We'll get proper fucked up. We'll watch Requiem for a Dream and we'll cry together. You'll love it.
I do need to watch it.
I thought you were going to say, I do need some MDMA.
No, it was similar with something like Schindler's List, where it's just like, I have to get around to watching this at some point.
You never seen Schindler's List?
No, I have.
Oh,
I mean, like, before I watched it, it was kind of like
you knew you had to watch it.
I have to watch this film, even though, like, the subject and the
not
film
a nice subject,
length and stuff, it's,
I wouldn't put Requiem for a Dream on a pedestal, though, mate. It's not. It's really good, but
everyone rates it highly.
I can't imagine.
I will watch it one day.
I can't imagine it hitting your top 50.
It's just on my ever-growing list of films to watch.
So many films. Stop making films, guys.
Yeah, let me catch up.
You had a pandemic where nothing was getting released to catch up.
Yeah.
I'm on 594 films.
Fucking hell.
On my watch list.
You need to get rid of all your consoles, mate.
And that includes all the other ones I do watch.
But yeah, that's the end of the mailbag.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone, for writing in. And now it's time for the socials from the proper social doctor. And a little sneak peek of what they'll be doing next week. Take it away.
From the Social Doctor, you can visit our new website at modernescapism.co.uk. On there you can find all of our socials, you can find our media and contact details and everything you're looking for nicely in one place for you. We've also just launched our merch store, which you can also find on the website. If you do have any comments, you can either tweet us or email us at modernescapismpod@gmail.com, or you can join us on our wonderful Discord server, where we can have a nice little chat about things in real time. If you fancy watching and interacting with us whilst we play through some games, you can find us on our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/modernescapism. We're on there fairly regularly. Mondays, we have Biggie playing through Dark Souls. I have a weekly horror stream on Thursdays. I just started Soma
so good
last week. Now, I should say I may be continuing with Soma. I may not.
What?
I slightly broke the game.
What? It's so good.
I did a candy. It may be good, but it's broken. Machine. I did a classic candy, and I think I realised the problem. I keep breaking games because I'm playing them all backwards compatibly. I think this might be an issue.
Oh.
But anyway, if I can, I will continue to play Soma on Thursday. Gadget's currently working his way through Fallout 4 on survival mode.
How far you got on that, pal?
That's on Wednesdays.
I rage quit on Wednesday when I was playing it. I managed to get through all of Core Vega.
Really?
Yes, without a death.
Wow, that's hard on normal.
Died a couple of times. Died a couple of times getting to Core Vega, but I did all of Core Vega without a death. And then I was working my way back to 10 Pines Bluff to put the quest in. Then you've got to go to Sanctuary. Yep. And as I was on my way to Sanctuary, I happened upon a raider. I thought, just by herself, I'll be sneaky. And I killed her in one shot. And then I came down the hill, and then this magical Molotov came from nowhere, from an unseen raider, and killed me. And put me back to the last point I saved in the middle of fucking Core Vega!
Oh, mate, I'd have fucking burnt the console.
I lost nearly
or the PC, whatever you're playing it on.
Oh, no.
So,
that's bad, man. That's bad.
Because the point that I saved it was after I cleaned it. Well, no, you can only save in survival mode when you sleep.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Fuck!
Yeah, so...
Always be sleeping.
I managed to clear out the inside of Core Vega, and I slept in at the end point where you kill the dungeon boss.
Yeah.
But then I did all the upstairs in Core Vega, the outside, to get the bobbleheads.
Yep.
And that took me ages. And then
I bet the bobbleheads and all the extras make such a difference in survival as well, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I thought they would. I thought they would.
That's the repair bobblehead up there. That gives you some skills, you know. It's like, you need this shit. So I've got to do it all I can.
And then Stig Noodles hosts variety streams throughout the week.
When we can be asked.
The best place to when you can be asked. So you can either check our Twitter when we're going live, or even better, if you can subscribe to our Twitch channel, you'll get a notification through the app that we're going live. We've already spoken about our Patreon, which is patreon.com/modernescapism. You've got 3 tiers: £5 Modern Escapees, £5 for Scorched Sheep, or £7.50 for the Biggie bundle, which gets you both. Now, next week's subject is best stolen ideas. So, best knockoff, best clones. What media is an absolute blatant rip-off of something else? Or has there been a rip-off of something that you've noticed and nobody else has? Let us know in comments. Email us. Give us your feedback.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Also, just one thing to add to that. Don't forget to go to the YouTube channel because we have reactions this week for Sexy Beast Series 2, Episode 1. And this coming Saturday is Diana the Musical.
Yeah, that exists.
You heard me right. A Broadway musical about Princess Diana, and we reacted to the first half an hour of it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Watch the rest.
Yeah.
Watch the fucking rest.
I did.
I'm not watching the fucking rest of it. Does it get worse?
I liked it anyway.
Let's get into it.
I loved it. But no, it's shite. Yeah, I've got an announcement to make as well for people that don't like me. I'm not on next week, so it's going to be a favourite episode. Unfortunately, I am unavailable.
Highest download numbers.
It's going to be the highest. It's going to be the first main podcast I miss for unforeseen circumstances. Yeah. So look forward to not hearing me. Who's going to take the mantle as host? Ooh, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to listen to that. So that's it for people that don't pay us. You fools. For everyone else, we'll meet you around the back, dicks out and all that. We'll see you there. But for everyone else, as always, I want to wish you a good night and bye-bye. God, don't you just love chocolate peanuts?
I don't love the sound of you over a microphone.
I'm going to wait before I kick him.
I can still hear you now, though.
I can hear you and your beard on your mic.
How dare you, good sir.